prisoner convoy tears through ruined streets, dragging its living cargo toward an unknown fate, while armed escorts flank the wagon and armored horses keep the desperate procession moving. Inside the barred cage, exhausted captives sit surrounded by guards ready to shoot. One prisoner quietly tells Changzi to survive alone, accepting what is about to happen, but before the convoy escapes, a furious shout cuts through the smoke and chaos. Chengzi charges the horses head-on, demanding that the guards release his captured sister at once. Seeing her little brother actually came, the young woman lights up despite their danger, though that relief vanishes when every escort raises a rifle and targets the reckless rescuer. Terrified for him, she grabs the bars and screams for the convoy to stop right away, warning them not to hurt her brother after they promise to spare him. A masked swordsman coolly acknowledges that promise, stepping forward to handle the interference himself, while Chengzi refuses to yield, swearing he will die before letting them take his sister. He launches his attack, but the swordsman effortlessly intercepts him before he reaches anyone, and one brutal counters sends our boy crashing down, ending the rescue in a single exchange, with the fighter standing over him and mocking a powerless weakling who cannot protect anything. Yet hurt and shaking, Chengzi curses his helpless body and still refuses to abandon her. His sister tearfully begs him to stop risking his life for a hopeless rescue, but instead of finishing him, the swordsman drops an awakening stone bought with her freedom. The masked man sneers that even a word attribute awakening cannot rescue someone already this useless, leaving Chengzi crawling beside the stone, staring helplessly after his departing sister. The convoy disappears into the distance as Chengzi reaches after his sister and begs helplessly, but the agony jolts him awake, revealing another nightmare from the painful past. For 3 years, that same memory has haunted him since his sister was taken away, and the masked swordsman's face remains burned into every replay of that terrible moment. Unable to forget, Zhao Cheng vows to grow stronger and finally track down his sister, only for 3 armed enforcers to smash through the wall of his shabby home, led by Settlement Deputy Administrator Zhao Zhijie, who demands another monthly fee and supply tickets. Though Zhao insists he already paid and has nothing left, refusing the corrupt official's demand, so Zhijie orders his thugs to force cooperation and search every corner of the house. They grab our guy under their boss's approving gaze and begin extracting their own payment. After the beating, Zhao remains hunched on his bed while the intruders finish their search, eventually finding 5 hidden tickets and mocking him for suffering over such a small stash. He silently dismisses their punches as weak, because repeated abuse already exposed Ziji's true objective. Realizing these visits are not about fees at all, but something far more valuable, as the thugs strike him again, forcing the carefully hidden object loose during their assault, until the awakening stone shoots from his mouth and bounces across the wooden floor. Now their real target is exposed. The stone his sister sacrificed her freedom to obtain, and Zhao quickly retrieves it, recalling 3 years spent investigating awakening stones for answers, though every lead about his missing sister has ended in complete and frustrating silence, leaving the masked swordsman as his only clue, because finding him could reveal her location. As Zhao studies the awakening stone, everything he learned about its power clicks into place. Anyone 16 or older can awaken an initial word attribute ranked bronze, gold, or radiant, and regardless of class, awakening one turns an ordinary survivor into something far stronger. The transformation can remake a body into an absolute powerhouse, raising every survival stake overnight. While these stones cost a fortune, one Zhao could never pay, yet his sister left him hers. Today is his 16th birthday, so the kid makes one wish: find her no matter what. With that promise burning, he activates the stone and triggers a full-blown system awakening, unlocking the unique Radiant attribute Divine Book, which grants a new word every level, while each acquired word receives a 50% boost, and nobody else possesses this attribute. Settlement 226 has only 3 word-powered elites, but Divine Book would stack 8 attributes by Gigi's level 8. Unsure how to level, he decides to ask Luje, whose attribute awakened 6 months earlier. Meanwhile, Settlement 226's plantation grows company-designed crops developed after ancient chaos mutated nature and triggered a devastating famine, with everyone working the fields while the administrator claims most produce through his distribution system attribute. And because that power cannot be reduced, weak harvests routinely leave ordinary workers starving. Among them, Luzai casually sips a suspicious purple drink like some post-apocalyptic wine snob, then nudges Zhao from his thoughts and jokes that the young master has bewitched him too, revealing this shameless show-off as Zhao's best friend, raised comfortably and obsessed with an imported romance novel, before Zhao asks whether Zai's awakened, and his friend admits new power creates an impossible-to-hide aura. Cutting through the flexing, Zhao asks the only question that matters: how does someone level up? Zai explains that awakened fighters enter dimensional dungeons, kill monsters, and gain levels from those battles. Dimensional dungeons drain life force, swarm with monsters, and every entrance is controlled by powerful factions charging over 100 tickets, while those same gatekeepers seize 70% of every resource survivors somehow drag back. to Zhao. That makes the dungeon deadlier than the mutated wasteland already surrounding them. And Zi confirms the math is horrific. 10 people enter, 9 die, and the survivor envies them. Before they can reconsider, GJ strolls over claiming he has wonderful news for Zi, and the unsuspecting young master politely asks what favor the administrator's lackey brought him. But Zhao knows the settlement's top lackey never brings favors, especially not for his best friend. Yet GJ generously offers free entry into Settlement 226's dimensional dungeon now that Zi awakened, with one tiny catch. Every resource he scavenges must be surrendered to the settlement. Even Zi recognizes this bargain as robbery and starts questioning the total loot seizure, while Zhao openly points out that the administrators already divided everything amongst themselves. GJ claims the entire settlement belongs to his boss, then mocks Chengzi for clenching his fists, but Zai pulls his friend back, insisting this is merely a scavenging run, confidently declaring that this extraordinary young master will stroll back alive like the protagonist he imagines. He smooths things over with the thugs and eagerly accepts their so-called service to the settlement, leaving Zhao torn between hiding his new attribute and refusing to abandon his best friend. Since another entrance costs 100 tickets he does not have, joining Zai is his only chance, so our boy steps forward, accuses Gigi of sending Zai to die, and joins the run. Zai is stunned by the loyalty, while even the smug deputy administrator briefly freezes, before laughing that Zhao is unqualified because dungeon entrants must possess awakened word attributes. Zhao calmly drops the bomb. He awakened a word attribute too, making Gigi's excuse worthless, and soon the pair reach Dungeon 226, a white level 1 portal guarded like private property, where the armed gate crew welcomes their new mules, openly treating entrants as disposable labor, while one thug draws his sword and corrects himself. They are domesticated mules. Another laughs that these skinny recruits will die before hauling anything valuable back outside, so Zhao promises Zai he will return and punch that loudmouth 100 times. Naturally, Zai embraces the challenge and vows to add another 100 punches for good measure. Their confidence rattles the guards, who can only curse both teenagers as ridiculously arrogant, until an annoyed Gigi orders his 2 intended pack animals through the portal, while Zai celebrates Zhao's loyalty until our guy shuts him up and crosses the threshold. As both vanish into blue light, Gigi and the guards watch their newest victims disappear, and the deputy admits Zhao hid his awakening remarkably well, something even he failed to notice. His men explain they searched 3 years for the stone left when Zhao's sister was taken. Now they fear revenge, remembering how they stole 70 to 80% of every ticket he earned. But Gigi laughs because awakening never makes anyone invincible, and Zhao must survive before retaliating, while revealing that his own awakened attribute belongs to the powerful gold class. Inside, Zhao and Zai materialize beneath towering trees, surrounded by a dim, hostile forest, as Zai recalls his uncle calling dimensional dungeons projections of hell cast into the human world, where lingering too long drains every drop of life force until explorers collapse dead. So Zhao pushes forward, knowing monster kills provide the experience needed to level. A distant scream slices through the forest, proving Zhao and Zai are not alone inside, because dimensional dungeons open through multiple entrances scattered across many territories throughout this broken world. Zhao finally understands the scam. GJ imports free labor because outsiders compete for the same loot, while administrators view accidentally awakened civilians as nothing more than disposable plundering tools. That realization makes question whether Chengzi truly intends to walk deeper into danger, warning him bluntly that this gamble could end with his death inside the cursed forest. But Zhao refuses to retreat, arguing he must risk everything to challenge the administrator someday. Ziai asks whether his friend seriously plans to cross blades with those high-level tyrants, and Zhao answers that his hatred never faded. Every exploited survivor would kill them given one chance. Impressed, Ziai admits his best friend has far more revolutionary backbone than expected, and reveals that his father and awakened uncle are secretly recruiting soldiers against the administrators, a revelation that surprises Zhao, though Ziai's family has some painfully personal reasons. 2 years earlier, their grandmother died after severe whipping wounds became too much for her age, and her family watched her suffer for half a month before finally deciding to rebel. So Zai clasps Zhao's hand and dramatically declares he is no longer merely his confidant. From this moment forward, they are comrades in arms fighting the same rotten system together. Zhao accepts, admitting his own goal requires leaving the settlement and finding his sister, while Zai wants the regime gone so he can openly date Xiao Yu and marry her, though Zhao dryly reminds him that romance requires both of them to escape this forest alive, before locating the unlucky stranger whose earlier scream conveniently marked their next destination. Reaching the scream's source, the pair spot a gigantic rotting wolf devouring an unfortunate explorer. Zhao notices a blood-red core beneath its ribs, identifying the obvious weak point and feeling something familiar, because the monster's pulsing core resembles an awakening stone, suggesting this beast wields a word attribute. Beside him, Zai marvels at his partner's calm, remembering how badly his own first monster terrified him. Once the creature seemingly leaves, they finally approach the victim and search for anything useful. Though the mangled remains immediately turn Zai's stomach, forcing him away while his friend kneels, Then Zhao reaches straight into the corpse, stunning his squeamish partner with absolutely zero hesitation. Apparently, barehanded corpse looting crosses even Zai's generous definition of real post-apocalyptic toughness, but hiding his stone inside mutated dogs, latrines, and rotten bodies already killed Zhao's disgust, and the search pays off with a sharp knife carved from durable mutated ox bone. Before anyone celebrates, Zai's warns that their cunning predator has suddenly circled back. The hulking wolf charges from the darkness, having only pretended to abandon its fresh kill. Yet our scavenger expected that trick, deliberately claiming a weapon while baiting the beast into battle. When Zai asks whether he can hold it off, Zhao crouches down and readies the knife, promising to handle the front line alone. He tells his experienced partner to unleash whatever tactics he has. Trusting Zai's 6 months of experience, he remembers his sister training him against mutated beasts since age 9, then follows her golden rule, strike first, and launches himself directly at the charging monster. Years of brutal practice show instantly as he slips around its attacks and counters from every angle, but the wolf's sudden acceleration keeps its glowing core beyond the knife's reach. Confirming wolf nature bloodlust, a bronze attribute boosting the monster's speed by 15%. True to his promise, Zai whips out a slingshot and launches a blue charged stone with perfect timing. The projectile smashes into the wolf's face, interrupting its speed-enhanced assault and leaving it wide open. Shouting that this is their chance, the marksman gives his partner the signal to attack. One sharp command sends Zhao to the exposed right side without a heartbeat of hesitation, where he braces both hands on the knife and drives its point between the ribs. The beast thrashes violently, but he keeps forcing the blade toward that burning red core, locking every muscle against the monster's strength until the resistance finally begins to break. And with one furious shove, our guy punches the oxbone blade straight through the target. Red energy erupts around him as the shattered attribute core releases its power, yet the victory turns dangerous when the enormous corpse pitches forward directly above its exhausted killer. Pinned beneath the falling mass, he suddenly realizes killing it was only half the problem. Zai races toward the impact, shouting for Chengzi as the monster crashes down, and the lifeless mountain of fur completely swallows his friend beneath its weight, leaving Zai calling his name in panic, convinced their first battle ended catastrophically, until the supposedly dead beast shifts, startling him with movement from somewhere underneath. Zhao crawls out bruised but smiling, assuring his terrified friend that he is not so easily killed. More importantly, the kill raises him to level 1 and triggers Divine Book's first attributes selection. 3 options appear: Bronze Armchair Strategist, Gold Wolf Hide, and Gold Independent Research and Development 1. Intrigued by that numbered title, he chooses Independent Research and Development 1 despite lacking details, gaining 22.5% across every stat plus 90 seconds of 300% amplification for one chosen attribute, the series' first upgrade. Even better, the numbered attribute belongs to an upgradable series, promising increasingly absurd power later. Zai snaps him from the system screen, warning that blood smell will attract more monsters. So Zhao begins harvesting quickly and invites his friend to help carve up the enormous prize. But the sheltered young master refuses, admitting his parents never even let him slaughter poultry, making Zhao quietly appreciate how rare Zai's warm, intact family truly is in this apocalypse. After stripping away bones and hide, he rejects the rotten meat and gives Zai several gray crystals. Those crystals hold the real ticket value, leaving the recipient stunned by such generosity. Yet Zhao calls them his investment in Ziai's family and their coming rebellion against the administrators. Besides, the slingshot's precise eye shot created the opening that made victory possible. Accepting that logic, Zai promises to document the contribution and report everything to his father, though returning through their original portal means surrendering every harvested material to Zijie's guards. Their counterplan is beautifully direct. Grow stronger here, walk out, and fight the thieves themselves. With Zai certain his father already knows about their forced entry and only awaits the right moment, they push deeper, hunting the pack that must accompany any wolf roaming this wilderness. But before another hunt, Zai stops his battle brother and requests complete honesty about their abilities. Zhao agrees to listen, unaware just how valuable his friend's revelation will become. Zai reveals he is level 1 with 92% experience and Gold Butcher's Precision 1, an attribute boosting everything 15% while marking enemy weak points, including the wolf's eye. Understanding this disclosure proves sincere trust, Zhao still keeps his 1 in 10,000 Radiant class hidden, afraid that revealing such overwhelming power might forever poison the pure friendship between them. His clenched fist marks a compromise. Reveal enough truth to honor Zai without exposing Divine Book. He names Independent Research and Development 1, sharing its base 15% boost and timed amplification. Everything he says is technically true, though the Radiant source and enhanced numbers remain hidden. Thankfully, Zai only exhales, confessing he feared both silence and an attribute superior to his own, then celebrates their apparently matched gold-tier powers as proof these brothers were destined to fight together. Throwing an arm around Zhao, he gleefully marches his perfect brother toward the waiting wolf pack, while the secretive powerhouse silently apologizes and promises to share everything honestly someday. The hunt explodes into motion, with Zhao lunging between snapping jaws and carving through glowing cores, as Zaya keeps providing ranged openings, whipping charged slingshot rounds through the dark forest, allowing his partner to batter each staggered beast before their speed can recover, and finish the monsters cleanly by driving the stolen knife straight into their blood-red cores. Afterward, enormous bundles of bones and hide pile up, but Zhao refuses Zai's offered share, explaining those materials can become weapons, clothing, or emergency tickets, so his own haul is enough. The results are ridiculous. Zai reaches level 2 past 70%, while Zhao hits level 4 past 50, because final blows grant the killer far more experience than teammates providing peripheral support. Devastated by his blood phobia, Zai rejects Zhao's suggestion that he lead the next charge, loudly declaring that glorious support duty is precisely where this young master shines brightest. Zhao's real leveling engine is far ahead, a radiant attribute gained at level 3 boosting monster kill experience 75%. Comparing it with Eternal Evolution Codex confirms even radiant attributes possess massive differences in raw strength. Elsewhere, a furious voice shatters the forest silence, demanding to know what Lu Zhu is attempting. The shout reaches Zhao and Ziai, revealing other people nearby, while Ziai instantly praises the woman's beautiful voice. Uninterested in strangers, Zhao orders them away before curiosity creates another dangerous distraction. Because right now, every surviving minute belongs to leveling rather than somebody else's drama, and despite their rapid progress, the dungeon's relentless life drain means they cannot waste time. Then a nearby man threatens a woman with violence unless she submits to his humiliating demands. Immediately, Zai's scandal-loving curiosity ignites and he whispers that someone may start undressing. So Zhao grudgingly agrees that one quick look cannot hurt, reversing their retreat. Hidden behind the trees, they spot a composed purple-haired woman confronting the conspiracy already unfolding. Her green-haired servant, Lu Zhu, admits arranging everything to secure access to her powerful family, boasting that basic toxin already killed her level 5 guards while she has only just awakened, and demanding she accept him as the Guan family's son-in-law, raising his social status, before shamelessly declaring their coerced union a perfect match personally approved by heaven itself. Zaya gleefully diagnoses a servant's betrayal designed to trap his mistress through scandal and forced marriage. When Zhao remains silent, the gossip addict demands some reaction to this exciting situation, but Zhao calculates that if every bodyguard is down, intervening could produce valuable opportunities. Zai misreads that ruthless arithmetic as a thrilling plan to join the attackers. Yet Zhao intends to wait until both sides weaken each other, then loot whoever falls. Unaware of the watchers, Lu Zhu lunges at Miss Guanju with poison covering his hands. She watches his charge without panic, her expression colder than the surrounding dungeon forest, then explodes forward and blasts the traitorous servant away before his toxic fingers reach her. Guanju's counter scatters paralysis powder across Lu Zhu's face, making the traitor choke in disbelief. Knowing the powder buys only seconds, she sprints toward her entrance and the safety beyond. But basic toxin renders him resistant, letting the furious servant shake off paralysis almost immediately. He barrels after her, promising brutal punishment for refusing the future he demanded, until poison-coated daggers finally bite and seize Guanju's limbs mid-escape inside the forest. Her body crashes down before Lu Zhu, leaving the level 1 heiress helpless at his feet. Though half his face remains numb, he closes in, bragging that his vile plan needs no charm. Watching closely, Zhao identifies the decisive gap. Every level raises bodily functions by roughly 30%. He calculated it from later wolf battles becoming easier, a detail that completely amazes Ziai, who realizes his quiet friend possesses frightening natural combat instincts beneath that battered exterior. Meanwhile, Lu Zhu warns his poisoned daggers will accelerate whenever Guanju struggles, and she will die even after escaping. But the cornered heiress still invokes her family's vengeance, prompting the servant to reveal marriage was always a lie, never his actual objective. His true mission is ruining the Guan family's reputation by publicly dishonoring its cherished daughter, and he grabs her, announcing the assault as she fights through the spreading toxin. Refusing surrender, Guanju rips one poisoned dagger from her own wounded leg, then twists free and drives it straight into Liu Ju's exposed neck with everything remaining. The blade lands deep, forcing her stunned attacker backward while poison surges through him. Yet instead of retreating, he chooses murder and charges again with the dagger still embedded, while Guanju braces, believing his poisoned wound guarantees death and preserves her family's honor. As Liu Ju raises his dagger for the killing blow, blue energy erupts from the trees. Zhao crashes in and hammers an amplified kick into the traitor, stopping the attack cold. Guanju stares up in stunned disbelief, barely understanding who just entered this nightmare, while the crushing impact launches Lu Ju across the forest, clearing like a broken projectile. Zai instantly recognizes that his friend strengthened his legs with independent research and development's explosive boost. But the fighter only says he has reasons, keeping his rescue motives locked down. Before anyone can question him, the poisoned heiress suddenly collapses unconscious behind them. A quick check confirms she still breathes, overwhelmed by sudden relief in the dagger's toxin, meaning without an antidote, Zai warns, their newly rescued asset will still die soon. Zhao refuses that outcome because Guanju could become vital to their coming uprising. Unfortunately, neither boy possesses detoxification, leaving raw strength useless against poison's deadly countdown. Then one obvious solution remains. Search the poisonous servant who created this lethal mess. They bind Lu Zhu's wrists, strip away his gear, and start hunting for an antidote. Ziyi nervously asks whether humiliating him might provoke the powerful faction backing his attack. But since Guanju knows his identity, Zhao judges Lu Zhu already discarded by them, and anyone pursuing the boys now would also be opposing that same high-status woman. Zai immediately embraces this brilliant logic, while his friend answers with one deeply unimpressed stare. Then Lu Zhu awakens, head throbbing as he tries remembering who launched that devastating kick, only to find both teenagers looming over him with matching smiles that promise serious trouble. Bound and stripped, the traitor demands their identities, raging that they dared ambush him. Lu Zhu tries intimidation, demanding release and threatening outcasts with violent revenge from his identity. Instead, Ziye asks Chengzi for instructions as Zhao casually lifts the oxbone knife. Recalling a captured mutated boar, they promise their squealing prisoner an equally miserable experience. A swift beating demolishes Lu Zhu's arrogance, and he reveals his blood neutralizes basic toxin. Zhao makes survival depend entirely on truth, then positions the servant's bound wrist for collection. Ignoring desperate pleas for mercy, he opens a shallow cut while Guanju lies nearby, and calmly squeezes until enough crimson antidote flows freely from the wounded wrist. Each drop lands in the heiress's mouth, letting Lu Zhu's own power undo its poison. Despite the prisoner's protests that taking any more blood will needlessly kill him, finally, Zhao orders Ziyi to guard him and wrap the cut with wolf hide, though the enthusiastic helper ties it brutally tight, earning another howl from their captive. His friend privately admits he cannot beat that merciless streak, yet remains devoted to Xiao Yu, envisioning the red-haired girl like a romantic heroine and swearing she alone owns his heart. Then Guanju stirs, the servant's blood finally pulling her consciousness above the toxin, while Liu Ju insists recovery takes time, hoping the delay will keep him alive, until the weakened heiress opens glowing pink eyes and studies the strangers around her. The battered captive celebrates her awakening as proof that his antidote claim was genuine, and she asks the silver-haired rescuer directly whether he was truly the one who saved her. He admits having personal reasons, then asks whether their overheard conversation proves her high status. She confirms the Guan surname, deciding concealment is pointless after Lu Ju's betrayal and rescue. Bound, Lu Ju seethes because even these nobodies recognize the famous Guan family and destroyed his scheme. Zhao ignores him and asks whether her father governs a settlement as its administrator. Guanju wonders if he genuinely fails to understand what her surname represents, but his blunt demand for an answer proves he wants facts, not aristocratic ceremony. She explains her family controls hundreds of major settlements, making them administrators on an enormous scale. Seeing this opening, he asks whether her father will repay one life-saving favor. Cautious, she asks the price first, warning her life may not justify anything excessive. He states the real objective without hesitation: overthrow Settlement 226's administrator using her father's power. After all that tension, Guanju can barely believe his request is this straightforward. Still, he offers payment. Both boys will protect her and help gather dungeon resources. The unexpected bodyguard proposal catches the weakened heiress completely off guard for a moment. Then the deal grows sweeter, with every resource recovered afterward belonging entirely to her. She glances toward Zai, silently checking whether the second fighter accepts those costly terms, and he cheerfully confirms there are no objections, backing his friend without hesitation. Studying Zhao's calm decisiveness, Guanju realizes this peer handles danger far better than she does, and although his plan is reckless, traveling together suddenly sounds genuinely interesting to her. So she accepts, introduces herself as Guanju, and formally seals their temporary alliance. Their handshake transforms a chaotic rescue into a partnership built on mutual advantage. He returns the introduction as Zhao Cheng, presenting goggle-wearing Lu Ziye as his trusted brother, while Liu Ju watches in disbelief as a noblewoman willingly shakes hands with outcasts. Meanwhile, Liu Ju rages that Guanju is unworthy of the unseen young master behind his mission. Once introductions finish, Guanju turns toward her traitorous servant and asks what happens next. Her new partner returns the decision entirely to her, respecting that this vengeance belongs to Guanju, then presents the terrified prisoner as a greeting gift while Liu Ju desperately claims manipulation. Accepting control, the recovering heiress rises and promises to handle her betrayer personally. When the blanket slips away, she realizes Zhao quietly covered her damaged clothes after the rescue, and privately revises her judgment, finding the seemingly naive fighter unexpectedly considerate toward her. Then she picks up a fallen poisoned dagger, transforming gratitude into cold purpose. Zhao warns her that Liu Ju's antidote blood makes the dagger's poison non-lethal, but she only wants a bleeding wound, not a quick death from toxin, while the groveling captive promises eternal disappearance if his former mistress spares him. Her raised blade looks straight from Z's beloved romance novel, briefly encouraging his optimism. Convinced noble heroines are naturally soft-hearted, he expects Guanju to release the servant, only for her blade to carve a deliberate wound into Liu Ju's neck. She immediately departs with the boys, leaving their panicked prisoner alone inside the monster-filled forest. As both new bodyguards glance back, processing their allies' surprisingly calculated punishment in silence, Zai calls her merciful merciful despite Lu Zhu murdering 4 guards and attempting that horrific assault, until Zhao reminds him that fresh blood draws hungry dungeon monsters to its source, meaning she chose a slower, harsher fate instead of delivering one immediate final strike. And the stunned reader finally admits he completely misjudged how ruthless this woman could become. Back at the abandoned clearing, Liu Ju frantically saws his bindings against rough stone, and vows vicious revenge on Guanju once he escapes her carefully arranged punishment. His hatred escalates into another depraved threat, but fresh blood has already answered first, as glowing red eyes and hungry fangs emerge from the darkened forest around him. Several rotting wolves surround the wounded servant almost instantly, making his confidence collapse into terror, and before he can flee, the pack closes in while his desperate screams erupt. Far ahead, the trio hears Liu Ju being attacked, confirming Guanju's bloody trap worked, with Zi wincing because the distant cries reveal just how painfully the punishment unfolds. Zhao still calls the choice impulsive, explaining that a living prisoner could expose his employer, because uncovering the true mastermind matters more than merely removing one disposable servant alone. She appreciates his concern yet admits having no other enemies, making the culprit nearly obvious. And he answers that allies must consider each other's risks, especially when a witness remains useful. Though if the hidden enemy ranks extremely high, that witness could become dangerous evidence. The conversation reminds Zhao that even an administrator's daughter faces problems her status cannot solve. When a gigantic wolf suddenly lunges from behind, its maw descending over both allies. Instantly, independent research and development activates, boosting his agility to 300% for 90 seconds despite a 15-minute cooldown. The charging beast snaps down, expecting its enormous jaws to crush 2 helpless targets. But enhanced speed lets him seize Guanju and vanish aside before impact. Landing safely, Zhao registers that this monster dwarfs every rotting wolf they fought earlier, and the system identifies a level 5 Netherbone Wolf King, the dungeon's quasi-boss. Zai recognizes the Wolf King and shouts a warning, but the nightmare grows worse, because 4 ordinary pack members have surrounded the trio beneath their towering alpha. Certain revenge has arrived for their slaughtered pack. The level 2 fighter immediately panics. Zhao calmly accepts the danger as consequences for hunting so many wolves across the forest, which only makes his terrified friend demand an actual solution instead of philosophical nonsense. He orders Zai to protect Guanju with the slingshot while he handles every wolf, but the level 2 support recoils at guarding anyone against 4 wolves plus their king, until Zhao clarifies his only target is precisely the massive quasi-boss standing before them. His status reads level 4, 89% health, 85% mana, and 54% experience. Since ordinary wolves now grant little, he intentionally used Lu Ju's blood to lure the king, because this quasi-boss's experience will become the next stepping stone toward overwhelming power for him. As he prepares to charge, Guanju calls his full name and stops him. Noting the chipped oxbone knife, she reaches for a better weapon hidden beneath her clothing, and offers an ornate curved blade that, although ordinary to her, far surpasses his damaged knife. The reveal leaves Zai comically speechless about how she concealed such a weapon, while Zhao simply thanks his ally, trades blades, and settles into a confident battle stance. The Wolf King charges again, its mountain-sized body turning the clearing into a death lane. Yet 300% agility lets the hunter sprint directly up the beast's moving body. Knowing Ra's strength cannot defeat something this gigantic, he searches for a smarter path, and races toward its head with the borrowed blade ready to exploit whatever opening appears. Clinging to the king's fur, victory requires shattering the hidden blood-red core with one perfect strike. One hand anchors against the violent motion while the borrowed blade remains ready below. Then the blazing core appears behind massive ribs, offering one narrow angle for a precise thrust. But 4 smaller wolves spring upward together, intercepting the root before the strike can land. As the Wolf King twists violently, coordinating its movement with the surrounding pack, forced to circle across the beast's back, another route toward its core becomes necessary. Yet each attempt brings another ordinary wolf lunging exactly where the desired foothold should land. The glowing target remains visible, but coordinated interference repeatedly pushes the finishing angle away, until snapping jaws close from multiple sides, turning the king's body into a moving trap. Realizing these monsters genuinely cooperate, Zhao recognizes their opening attack was merely a feint. The creatures match mutated wolves outside, whose sophisticated hunting tactics challenge humans beyond dungeons. Still, even intelligent beasts cannot outthink humans who planned for an entire pack from the beginning. So when the wolves crowd close, the silver-haired fighter meets their fangs without retreating, because the strategy never depended on dueling only the king. Every attacker belongs inside it. Behind him, Zai's status reads level 2, HP 97, MP 69, and EXP 73%. Before Butcher's precision activates, detecting one weak point area on any visible target up to 5 levels higher. Blue charged shots streak through the melee, striking marked openings and disrupting the entire coordinated pack, while Zhao flows between staggered wolves, cutting every exposed weak point his best friend creates. Their practiced teamwork turns the deadly encirclement into another savage but perfectly controlled harvesting run, leaving Guanju astonished that the supposed sidekick can dominate battlefield support this completely. Zai answers Guanju's surprise with swagger, insisting she completely misjudged how dangerous his support teleport can be. Ahead, the enraged Wolf King activates Bronze Wolf Nature Bloodlust, increasing its speed 15%. Facing that acceleration, Zhao plants both blades and declares it is finally time to settle everything. The Alpha and its pack surge together, compressing the entire battlefield into one incoming wall. Behind the target, Zai and Guanju brace as multiple sets of claws descend, while the king's enormous jaws open wide enough to swallow their formation whole, until a sharp command tells both allies to duck, revealing the counterattack is already prepared. Orange power coils around the crouched fighter as every remaining ounce of force enters Guan's blade. Certain victory is possible, he nevertheless unleashes every ability to eliminate all risk. Flame Enchantment ignites the weapon with Hellfire, adding fire damage and a 30% burn chance. Then the fully charged strike erupts forward, carrying twin blades through the advancing pack. A massive scarlet firestorm engulfs the wolves, forcing both companions flat beneath its blazing wave, and the Inferno tears a burning corridor through the dungeon forest with overwhelming destructive force. Zai can only gape at how ferocious Chengzi's hidden finishing move has become. As smoke rises from a scorched trench stretching far beyond the original battlefield, Guanju realizes even awakened fighters below level 8 in her family cannot match this output, especially since this dungeon rejects anyone above level 5, making the display seem impossible. When she asks, Zai confirms Zhao is only level 4, while he remains level 2, meaning a level 4 outcast just produced power her clan associates with level 8 fighters. She assumes the flames are his sole awakened attribute, then privately dismisses that attribute as weak. Watching the flames fade, Guanju suspects she has found precisely the talent her father seeks, and Zhao's calm smile confirms the Wolf King has finally been decisively defeated. Far Ahead immediately activates, flooding him with the promised 75% bonus experience from the kill, enough to push level 4 straight into level 5 and unlock another 3-way word choice. Wolf Nature Bloodlust offers 15% speed, while 2 unfamiliar bronze attributes compete beside it. The Codex explains that previously witnessed attributes reveal extra details, leaving safety against a tempting gamble. Although the wolf skill is useful, its lower growth potential convinces him to risk the unknown, so he selects Headshot Strike, making the next attack a guaranteed critical with 150% extra damage. Despite a 10-minute cooldown, combining this combat ability with his others could deliver a decisive one-shot. Before testing that lethal combination, he turns towards skinning the fallen king and harvesting everything valuable. Seeing the two friends collect hides and bones, Guanju questions why they need such scraps. They explain Settlement 226 exchanges them for supply tickets, clothing, and weapons, all now belonging to her. She privately marvels that her family's lowest servants would ignore materials considered rare in this impoverished settlement, yet remembers her father's lesson about infinite potential, recognizing extraordinary genius can emerge anywhere. Soon the dungeon's yin energy numbs Zhao's arms, while Zai complains his own blood feels frozen. With time shrinking, they shoulder their heavy spoils and hurry deeper to hunt more experience, because every level gained raises his chances of overthrowing the settlement authorities and reclaiming his sister. Rather than wander aimlessly, Guanju offers directions toward a destination promising much richer experience. Both hunters turn back with immediate interest, ready to hear what shortcut their new ally knows. She reveals every dimensional dungeon contains one true boss whose experience reward dwarfs ordinary monsters. The boss zone may also contain high-tier crystals, divine weapons, or armor, making its brutal risk worthwhile, until Zai scratches his head, arguing the gigantic wolf king they just killed obviously looked like a boss. Zhao explains that true bosses guard fixed treasure zones, unlike roaming quasi-bosses that actively seek trouble. His embarrassed friend instantly pretends he remembered, while Guanju quietly finds their dynamic surprisingly interesting. Yet locating that hidden guardian remains the real problem, especially with the dungeon's cold rapidly worsening. Guanju answers that low-level white dungeons are manageable because she carries something designed for tracking bosses. As she searches, Zai whispers that their administrator's daughter is shamelessly showing off her privilege, mocking her casual confidence after nearly dying here and joking that her outfit hides endless equipment. But Zhao notes they know little beyond Settlement 226, while her background and possible storage ability explain everything, prompting his jealous best friend to accuse him of defending her and launch one shameless romantic joke. Ignoring the bait, Zhu produces an expensive octagonal device she privately prefers not to flaunt. Perception Pointer resembles a compass and senses the exact direction of a dungeon boss. As a green-grade item, it can precisely locate bosses inside any green-grade or weaker dimensional dungeon. Zhao immediately starts moving, ignoring Zai's demands for an answer while the puzzled heiress follows. The pointer eventually leads them beyond the forest toward a rocky basin crowned by a treasure chest, where all three crouch behind cover, astonished that the sleeping creature nearby is the dungeon's boss. A colossal crimson boar bristling with spikes and enormous tusks lies curled beside the treasure. The system identifies this fierce guardian as the Spired Red Demon Boar, a level 10 boss. Killing the dungeon's sole boss will close every entrance and make the entire dimension disappear. Worse, level 10 grants it 2 awakened attributes against their levels 5, 3, and 1, making victory seem brutal. Guanju agrees with the danger, recalling her teacher warned 5 bodyguards still must never provoke a boss, because slaying one requires an awakened fighter whose monstrous power transcends normal existence, despite the dungeon's entry limit. Zai understandably asks why she brought them here if confronting it would only waste precious time. Her answer is simple. She believes Zhao himself possesses exactly that impossible, transcendent potential. Before anyone can debate the gamble, he senses approaching footsteps and orders the trio lower. A large armed hunting party marches into the basin, led by a scarred rifleman celebrating impossible luck. After nearly 10 dungeon runs, the newcomer has finally found the boar he obsessively hunted. Z quietly calls the entire group idiots for challenging something so overwhelmingly beyond them. But the silver-haired hunter suspects hidden word attribute experts among them, especially since their leader carries an ancient gun. He once watched similar weapons slaughter mutated wild dogs, firepower ordinary humans could never withstand. Guanju explains modern guns are replicas of ancient weapons capable of erasing settlements containing hundreds of thousands, leaving Zai stunned that such powerful ancestors somehow allowed their world to become this ruined wasteland. Yet she notes certain awakened attributes may surpass technology and change the world merely by existing. Their whispered history lesson ends when a thunderous explosion erupts across the rocky boss arena. He realizes the rival hunting party has begun its assault, creating an unexpected opening for his team. The awakened boar rises under concentrated gunfire, roaring while bullets shower sparks across its armored hide. Their leader's bronze bullet formation converts physical strength into endless ammunition whenever he wields a firearm. Laughing wildly, the rifleman unleashes a relentless barrage and challenges the beast to endure his bullets. With every enemy focused on fighting, he proposes stealing the treasure without killing its guardian. As the boar charges through continuous impacts, the hidden trio watches both sides collide below. Recognizing the scheme, Guanju compares it to two rivals fighting while a patient opportunist collects the profit. When the silver-haired hunter misses the idiom, Zai eagerly translates it as exploiting chaos to seize the chest, then turns the explanation into another boast, leaving the heiress grudgingly impressed by his shameless timing. The plan is confirmed. Exploit the ongoing battle because directly fighting this boss with 3 people looks hopeless. Before moving, Guanju notices severe yin erosion spreading along his arm and warns it will impair him. With one careless motion potentially fatal, she offers both hunters medicine from her family that resists low-level erosion. Zai swallows his pill while complaining she waited until yin energy nearly killed them. Zhao asks the price, increasingly uneasy that her blade and medicine may vastly exceed their promised resources. Even after forming an alliance, his stubborn principles refuse to accept a debt he cannot repay. Guanju casually claims each pill costs 1 supply ticket and simply never reaches their remote settlement. Relieved, he takes the medicine, promises repayment, and leaves Zai laughing over his 100-ticket estimate. Watching him recover, Guanju respects that someone desperately poor still refuses even tiny obligations. Privately, however, she hides the true price of 2,000 tickets, knowing honesty would make him refuse. Below them, the boar's violent counterattack scatters the hunters and sends several crashing across the arena. Although continuous bullets chip its health, hardened hide activates and strengthens its outer skin for 10 minutes. The scarred leader recognizes the defensive attribute but keeps firing, furious at the sudden obstacle. He challenges the charging monster and boasts his brothers will feast after completing this impossible job. Even as danger closes in, the gunner's confident grin reveals he has another formation ready. He rallies every remaining hunter to protect their big brother, and the squad rushes forward together. Multiple bronze Iron Wall attributes ignite at once, raising each defender's protection by 15%. Watching Iron Wall hold, Zhao revises his judgment. These hunters are organized, fiercely loyal, and led by real ability. Still, the urgent prize matters more, and he slips behind the battle to reach its locked chest. Guanju is startled he can pick locks, but Zai recalls his many expeditions beyond Settlement 226. Their shared glance carries a silent realization that this scavenger possesses far broader survival experience than expected. Having never left her settlement, the sheltered heiress asks what the ruined outside world is truly like. Zai admits he rarely ventures beyond the walls and always remains inside designated safe zones, but repeats his friend's description. The world is decayed and ruined, yet somehow vibrant with life. Those contradictory words linger with Guanju, awakening curiosity about everything her protected upbringing kept distant. While the lockpicks work, she asks how that mysterious wilderness appears through his own eyes. A clean click interrupts the conversation. The lock matches outside mechanisms, and the treasure chest finally opens. He reaches for the lid, smiling as the dungeon's greatest reward sits one motion away. But a deafening blast from the arena interrupts him before the contents can be revealed. The boar surges through fallen hunters amid waves of scorching air, turning triumph into panic. Heat flow conversion is its second bronze attribute, spending stamina to exhale 140-degree heat waves at 41% health. Then the enraged boss spots Zhao beside its open treasure and redirects every murderous instinct toward him. Blazing with converted heat, the massive creature abandons the hunters and charges directly up the slope. He braces behind the borrowed blade, tracking the incoming tusks with absolute concentration. At the final instant, he springs over its head while gunfire continues striking the armored hide. Landing safely, he realizes every earlier hunter was knocked down, leaving only their battered leader standing. The wounded rifleman keeps firing anyway, warning the reckless kid to flee before sacrificing his life. Bleeding heavily, the rifleman admits his brothers are finished and orders the younger survivor to escape alone. He identifies their group as the Red Scarf Gang, proudly facing likely death after saving one stranger. The gesture changes everything. Zhao calls for Zai, refusing to abandon people who risk themselves for him. His best friend bursts from cover, answering that fleeing now would make them less than human. Butcher's precision locks onto a vulnerable rear area, and the support fighter shouts the target. Following that marker, the blade cuts through the weak point despite the boss's hardened skin. The successful strike drops its health to 35%, provoking another furious roar. Watching from below, the scarred leader marvels that a blade wounded level 10 during active defense. The boar retaliates with heat flow conversion again, wrapping itself in lethal 140-degree currents. Clinging near its back, the young fighter knows close attacks invite burns and urgently searches for another approach. Level 10 has already revealed both attributes, so no unknown ability remains to surprise him. Yet the monster intelligently weaponizes its own heat aura, forcing him airborne before another strike. Gunfire from the surviving red scarves interrupts the boss, buying their new ally another opening. Supported by one battered brother, their leader declares every remaining life now rests in the kid's hands. With absolute trust, he orders the outsider to finish the monster they could not defeat. Answering that faith, independent research and development amplifies speed 300% while flame enchantment ignites the blade. With every combat attribute active and health at 85%, he stakes everything on victory. The speed boost launches him upward as the burning boss races along the near vertical arena wall. Mid-flight, he calls for the exact weak point, trusting Zai's battlefield vision completely. A marked stone reveals the left rib area, giving the airborne attacker his decisive destination. Guided by the distant marker, the blazing swordsman rockets straight toward the highlighted left rib weakness. Both blades rise overhead as amplified speed turns the descending swing into a near-vertical execution arc. Heat tears across his body, but he forces the burning weapon onward through the unbearable pain. Then one slash becomes a relentless chain, carving the marked area faster than the eye can follow. From the ridge, Zai screams encouragement while every strike drives deeper through the failing defense. Guanju can only watch the fiery blur and wonder whether Zhao can actually win. Even the injured gang leader grins through exhaustion, demanding that the kid refuse defeat. Surrounded by heat and pressure, the attacker grits his teeth as every muscle approaches its limit. Still, he accelerates, crossing both blades repeatedly and swearing to continue until the monster falls. The sustained barrage tears its final health from 14% down to a desperate 1%. With nothing held back, one last burning cross-strike carries every remaining ounce of strength. The enormous body crashes down beneath him, its heat aura finally breaking apart around the arena. The system confirms the impossible. The level 10-spired red demon boar has been defeated. The victor stands against the fallen boss, battered but upright after landing the dungeon's decisive blow. Zi and Guanju race over together, shouting that their desperate team truly won. Celebration immediately becomes alarm when the heiress sees severe burns covering their exhausted champion. Blackened and trembling from prolonged exposure, he barely remains standing as both companions call his name. He lowers himself beside the corpse, asking them to guard the surroundings while he catches his breath. They immediately take opposite watch positions while a faint green restorative glow gathers around him. As the battlefield quiets, his burned face relaxes slightly, though his condition remains uncertain. While restorative light closes his wounds, far ahead activates and claims the boss's overwhelming experience reward. Its 75% bonus rockets him through level 6 and straight into level 7, 2 levels instantly. 2 level ups mean 2 fresh codex extractions, and the first selection window unfolds before him. Hardened Hide, Bullet Formations, and Mysterious Gold Tier Refresh Once appear among the opening candidates. Headshot Strike 2, Metal Evolution, and Independent Research and Development 2 complete the powerful lineup. He dismisses Hardened Hide as useful but situational, while firearms make Bullet Formation currently unaffordable. Instead, the enigmatic Gold Tier Refresh Once catches his attention precisely because its effect remains hidden. Rarity wins the gamble. He chooses the unknown gold option without further hesitation, and receives Refresh Once, which resets every word attribute cooldown before entering its own 30-minute cooldown. That support ability unlocks terrifying burst potential, letting him repeatedly chain otherwise restricted combat powers. A second extraction follows, narrowing the choices to 3 upgrades, each capable of reshaping his future. This time, he confidently selects the gold-tier continuation of Independent Research and Development. Version 2 raises every personal attribute 45% and boosts one chosen attribute by 450%. Even better, the explosive enhancement now lasts 3 full minutes while retaining its 15-minute cooldown. Now level 7, he stands only one step beneath level 8 Zhao Zhijie and silently promises pursuit. Before that triumph settles, violent tremors roll through the arena, alarming all 3 dungeon dungeon allies. Guanju recognizes the truth. Killing the Soul Boss has triggered Dungeon 226's imminent collapse. The wounded Red Scarf leader praises the kid, declares him a friend, and promises to repay his debt. Then he rallies his surviving brothers, and the battered gang begins evacuating before the world disappears. Impressed by his forthright loyalty, the heiress asks whether Chengzi can move before they follow. Still shaky but mobile, he rises and urges everyone toward the exit before the collapse accelerates. As the trio runs, Zi notices the huge treasure chest has vanished from the arena entirely. Guanju calmly reveals her word attribute can store many objects. The entire prize is safely with her. Between tremors, he returns the ornate curved blade she loaned him for both boss battles. She refuses it, gifting him the weapon and reaffirming her promise to help overthrow Settlement 226's administrator. He thanks her, but Zie warns their waiting guards will force a life-or-death battle outside. Guanju firmly promises she will make it in time, and the others accept her confidence. With the dungeon cracking behind them, the two friends sprint through Settlement 226's shrinking blue portal. Zai calls out anxiously, but his companion assures him preparations for the ambush are already complete. They emerge directly into a fortified camp where Zhao Jijie's waiting men immediately raise the alarm. Lighting a cigarette, the deputy sneers that neither disposable scavenger was expected to return alive. He reveals the administrator ordered their deaths because Zai's parents united awakened rebels from other settlements. The sentence is absolute: kill both survivors without questions, preventing them from ever joining the uprising. Exactly as planned, Uncle Lu accelerated the rebellion after Zai's imprisonment. Zhao now carries 7-word attributes. Now level 4 himself, Zai proposes eliminating the guards quickly before rendezvousing with his father and allies. Zhao Jiji laughs at their confidence, revealing his own level 8 gold attribute, extreme speed. At his command, multiple armed enforcers surge forward, eager to overwhelm the exhausted pair together. They mock the inexperienced youths, charge for promised rewards, and swing their blades without restraint. Yet the gifted curved sword flashes from its sheath before the first attacker can close. Burned, outnumbered, and facing level 8, its wielder still settles into deadly calm. Before their blades descend, one sweeping burst drops 4 attackers. Their movements look painfully slow. Driving forward through the formation, he asks whether Zhao Jiji still sees the helpless victim he once controlled. The remaining guards freeze over a sword's speed, even their eyes could barely follow. As Dungeon 226's entrance dissolves behind him, the victor stands ready amid fading blue lightning. The disappearing portal tells the deputy only one thing: someone inside actually killed the boss. Still underestimating them, he assumes they merely leached experience and reached only level 2 or 3. Confident that level 8 remains untouchable, he draws his sword and calls both youths hopelessly green. Zai rejects the guess with a grin, baiting the arrogant deputy into asking who truly won. Then the shameless braggart claims he personally killed the boss, wearing confidence like a crown. He begs Chengzi for one glorious moment to keep bluffing, despite receiving a stunned sideways glance. The story lands hard enough that Zhao Jiji demands to know Zai's awakened word attribute. If Zai truly delivered the kill, the deputy reasons, his level must exceed his partner's. Deciding the silver-haired fighter is weaker, he targets him first, while Zai boasts about gold-tier power. He orders 2 enforcers to contain the supposed boss killer, then activates extreme speed against Zhao. Terrified but obedient, the pair raise their heavy blades and rush Zai from both sides. Both realize their cowardly commander has sacrificed them against the apparently stronger opponent, yet continue anyway. Trusting the bluff, Zai breaks away and leaves Chengzi to handle the incoming level 8 threat. Zhao Jijie charges with murderous confidence, certain his speed will end everything in one strike. But the curved blade rises in time, catching the blue-edged slash with a brilliant impact. The collision stops him cold, his eyes widen at the supposedly weaker survivor's overwhelming physical force. Unable to explain that strength within the dungeon's entry limit, Zhao Jijie activates extreme speed at full power. The gold attribute adds 30% to every speed parameter atop his level 8 base. He unleashes a storm of intersecting blue slashes, boasting that raw strength can never catch him. Yet every attack meets a green counterstroke, leaving the speed specialist unable to shake his opponent. Matching him blow for blow, Zhao recalls 3 years of raids, beatings, extortion, and near starvation. Memories return of a younger Chengzi crawling through his wrecked home while the deputy searched relentlessly. Pinned and trembling, the child could only endure repeated demands to reveal where the hidden object was. Refusal brought another brutal blow, but even fear never made him surrender his sister's final gift. Those helpless tears became a promise, hardening across 3 years into the resolve driving him now. He reveals he always understood their target was the awakening stone his sister sacrificed herself to provide. Calling the accusation nonsense, Zhao Jiji doubles down and launches another lightning-fast diagonal strike. But fury ignites flame enchantment around the gifted blade as its owner protects that irreplaceable memento. Then both research and development abilities and headshot strikes simultaneously activate alongside the roaring hellfire. 3 years of humiliation and rage erupt together, focused entirely on the thief who caused them. The blazing swordsman surges past the blue defense, turning his decisive counterattack into a fiery arc. For the first time, Zhao Zhijie panics. His enemy's speed keeps climbing beyond extreme speed's reach. Swearing nobody will steal his sister's last keepsake, he brings the flaming blade down with everything. The empowered strike tears through the deputy's guard before he can escape, breaking his confident expression. Standing over the fallen tyrant, the Avenger declares every humiliation from those 3 years repaid. Seeing their struck down, the surviving enforcers abandon Zai and shout for everyone to run. Before letting the survivors escape, he turns toward the remaining accomplices with a cold, deliberate stare. He reminds them they joined every beating, then hurls a spinning ring of fire across their path. Flaming arcs weave through the fleeing group, cutting off escape and dropping one pursuer after another. When the barrage ends, he catches the gifted blade and declares his 3-year vengeance finally complete. Zai answers with an enthusiastic thumbs up, celebrating the reversal that once seemed impossible to both. Then he spots something shining inside Zhao Zhijie's pocket and identifies the fallen deputy as a corpse. Searching the body produces a simple pearl bracelet, not the treasure either the survivor expected. Zai immediately recognizes it as his mother's, turning relief into sudden terror again. He concludes his parents and fellow rebels were captured and taken directly to the administrator's office. The bracelet was his mother's favorite and never willingly surrendered, making that conclusion impossible to dismiss. A memory of her gentle embrace flashes through his mind, sharpening every fear of arriving too late. Clutching the pearls, he sprints toward home territory and silently begs his mother to survive. Chengzi promises Aunt Zhong is alive, and his certainty gives the panicked son something to trust. Because his friend never wastes words, Zai knows that reassurance rests on an actual analysis. Settlement 226's scarce population and Aunt Zhong's appearance make Zhao believe her captors would keep her unharmed. That logic only increases Zai's panic, and he desperately orders the explanation to stop. Still bickering, both friends race through the ruined settlement while startled residents watch them pass. The jokes vanish as the administrative office comes into view directly ahead beyond the final ruined structures. They close on the fortified compound beneath Settlement 226's administrative flag, preparing for another confrontation. But a red-haired young woman steps from the roadside and calls both approaching survivors by name. The young woman urgently warns them to leave because fighting has erupted around the administrative office. Zia recognizes Xiao Yu, who explains Uncle Lu surrounded the compound and battled the administrator's men. Spectators say the rebels are losing, while Zhao Jijie's squads are supposedly arriving to arrest both survivors. Hearing his parents are trapped inside, Zia's face hardens with fear and determination. Xiao Yu calls them heroes, but admits ordinary residents feared Fan Dahu, Tiang Kun, and Zhao Jijie. Uncle Lu rallied many brothers after learning about the dungeon sentence, yet the administrator's force proved stronger. The frightened residents beg Yezi and Chengzi to flee, insisting they cannot defeat those awakened rulers. Zai refuses without hesitation. Both parents are inside, so abandoning them is impossible now. Even if rescue means death, he would rather fall beside them than survive alone. Still, he urges Chengzi to use Zhao Jijie's death and surrounding chaos as his chance to escape. His oldest friend should leave Settlement 226 behind and finally search for his missing sister. But Uncle Lu repeatedly helped him, while Aunt Zhong offered maternal care. Walking away would betray them. Their secret food kept him alive after every robbery, and Fan Dahu ultimately enabled the entire persecution. That answer silences Zie, whose eyes soften as loyalty overrules every argument for separation. Then he grins and accepts it. Whatever comes, the brothers will face life and death together. Whispers ripple through the crowd that gloomy Zhao Cheng somehow defeated a level 8 awakened fighter. Inside the compound, a prisoner hangs bound as Fan Dahu addresses the rebel leader by name, Liu Fu. The level 10 administrator possesses 2 gold attributes, massive body and valor, and mocks the smaller rebellion. Lu Fu condemns him for harming his mother, countless residents, and now threatening his own son. Fan Dahu only smiles, claiming brutal necessity forced his hand and showing no remorse. Fan Dahu offers mercy if Lu Fu kneels, dismissing one endangered son as easily replaceable. The price exposes his depravity. He demands Aunt Zhong's submission before allowing her husband to live. Lu Fu refuses outright, choosing death over submission to such a vile bargain. Offended by defiance, the administrator throws Aunt Zhong down and claims his offer was generous. He sneers that killing Lu Fu would never protect her from what follows. Furious and bound, the rebel leader demands a direct fight instead of attacks against his wife. Fan Dahu agrees eagerly, promising to kill the husband first before turning back to his captive. Calling himself merciful, he palms 2 smooth silver spheres and prepares an execution stroke. The level 10 ruler lunges from his seat, offering Lu Fu a supposedly quick end. Aunt Zhong cries for Brother Fu as the twin projectiles streak toward her bound husband. Facing death, Lu Fu calls her Ah Huan and promises reunion as spouse's next life. But a colossal, spinning blade arc crashes between executioner and prisoner, scattering the silver attack. The rescue comes from Chengzi, standing beside Zi with Guanju's curved sword raised. He advances without hesitation and tells Fan Dahu he has come to take their lives. Bound Lu Fu stares in disbelief while his captive wife and surrounding guards register their arrival. Fan Dahu recognizes the pair and merely sneers at the 2 little punks. Lu Fu gasps that his son survived the dungeon, yet urgently orders Chengzi to run. Zai refuses to leave, declares they came for rescue, and activates Butcher's precision weak point detection. Whipping out his slingshot, he targets the guards and threatens everyone who dared touch his parents. A hooded enforcer intercepts the barrage beside the smiling administrator, who mocks their newfound awakened confidence. The slingshot barrage erupts into a thick smoke cloud, swallowing Fan Dahu and his entire formation. Lufu instantly recognizes a smoke bomb feint and realizes the rescue has another target. Seeing through the diversion, Fan orders guards to protect awakened prisoners before the brothers can free them. Meanwhile, Chungzi drops through the smoke toward the administrator, declaring himself the true opponent. Red light flashes across his eyes as killing intent locks squarely onto the settlement's ruler. With Cloak snapping behind him, he brings Guanju's curved blade down in a full-force strike. Fan Dahu welcomes the gamble, believing killing the attacker's leader will instantly collapse all resistance. Smiling at the incoming steal, he asks whether the youngster truly wants to challenge him directly, but the hooded enforcer cuts between them, declaring the intruder unqualified to face Fan Dahu. A crushing counter sends the silver-haired skidding backward, though he keeps hold of the blade. He immediately senses the attacker is faster and stronger than Zhao Zhijie, Fan's most trusted weapon. System identifies Jiang Kun, level 9. Gold 3 Make a Crowd creates 2 linked 70% power avatars. The settlement's #1 enforcer personally executed dissenters, leaving countless residents crippled or dead. That ruthless history earned him the whispered nickname Vicious Hound, feared even beyond the administrator. Once this hunter bites into a target, locals say he never releases it unharmed. Jongkun dives again with twin knives, but the curved sword catches his descending blow. Surprised his blade was blocked, he demands the stubborn defender's identity without lowering his knives. The answer remains cold. Jongkun only needs to know he will die like Zhao Jiji. Recognition strikes. He names Zhao Cheng and repeats the settlement lie about selling his sister for the stone. Zhao Jiji had described the target and admitted never finding the awakening stone, even after years. Refusing to let the insult distract him, he ignites Flame Enchantment and activates Headshot Strike. A blazing critical slash explodes across the battlefield, forcing Jongkun to meet the sudden power head-on. The enforcer mistakes his calm fury for shame, taunting him about the supposedly accurate accusation. Fire spirals around the unwavering swordsman, yet his attack rhythm never changes under the provocation. While parrying each flaming arc, Zhang realizes his words failed to disturb the youth's tempo. Instead, word attribute amplification makes every clash harder, and the level 9 fighter struggles to keep pace. Alarmed by the 16-year-old's cunning and aggression, he decides this growing threat must die immediately. 3 Make a Crowd activates at last, splitting off 270% avatars linked to the original. Now 3 coordinated attackers encircle the lone fire user, every blade aimed at finishing him here. Recognizing the bizarre technique, he prioritizes defense and studies the formation before revealing more strength. Flaming swings repel the coordinated assault until Yezi announces his father and awakened uncles are freed. Supporting weakened Lu Fu, he promises the freed rebels will join the fight immediately. Chengzi refuses assistance, ordering Yezi to kill Fan and save Aunt Zhang while he handles Zhang. Zhang reveals the trap. Rescuing awakened captives was predictable, so freedom never meant genuine safety. The realization lands mid-swing. They must have done something to Uncle Lu and the others. His fear is confirmed when Lu Fu and fellow rebels begin vomiting blood from deliberate poisoning. Exactly as suspected, the supposed rescue had only triggered Fan Dahu's hidden contingency. The administrator laughs at anyone mistaking him for a fool, claiming he prepared for this maneuver. He anticipated their survival before the dungeon entry and admits Zhao Jiji served merely to test their abilities. Fan reminds Kunzi that outside experience made the target skilled, then orders the avatars recalled for conversation. With Jiang held back, Fan Dahu praises Zhao Cheng's courage and presents himself as reasonable. He offers Zhao Jiji's position if the blade drops, claiming the Lu family's rebellion need not involve him. Across the yard, Zi admits the uprising was never Chengzi's burden. Freeing awakened rebels should have balanced the battle. The poisoned men sag around him, proving the entire rescue plan has collapsed. Cradling his father, he realizes they have become dead weight for their strongest ally. Fan's confident smile widens as the silence makes betrayal appear like the only survivable choice. Watching Lu Fu weaken, his son fears loyalty will drag Chengzi into certain death. The poisoned father agrees, warning this Lu family disaster must not consume Zhao as well. Through grief, Zi says he knows exactly what must be done and rises. Tears breaking free, he begs Chengzi to lower the weapon rather than die beside their family. Without turning back, the swordsman answers that Yezi is his brother and always will be. Still desperate, Zai repeats that surrendering the blade is the only sensible choice. Fan mistakes the hesitation for survival instinct, believing the apocalypse taught every child to become someone's obedient dog. But his target whirls back with a furious refusal, rejecting that rotten bargain completely. He will neither betray brothers nor abandon benefactors. His sister never taught him to become that kind of person. Instead, he declares killing every tyrant here remains the only path to saving everyone. He charges straight toward Fan and the surrounding forces, promising all captives can still survive. Behind him, Yezi can only whisper his friend's name while clutching his poisoned father. Fan drops the friendly mask, calls the refusal idiotic, and orders the entire group exterminated. Zhang Kun answers Brother Tiger and rushes in, promising to personally finish the defiant challenger and bring Fan a trophy. Zhang Kun closes with lethal results resolve, swearing this exchange will finally end his opponent. Answering with the same intention, he activates independent research and development. 1. Amplifying strength by 300% for 90 seconds. His boosted blade collides with incoming avatar attacks, detonating crossing gold and violet shockwaves. Surrounded on 3 sides, he threads through coordinated cuts and counters every opening. One direct clash overwhelms even the main body, whose strength now trails by double or triple. Zhang reels, wondering whether the earlier fire was deception and this overwhelming strength is the true attribute. He decides the youth has been hiding a decisive burst for a carefully timed finishing strike. Confidence returns because 2 linked avatars still attack together, compensating for the raw power gap. Yet their coordination remains troublesome. Against Jiang alone, victory would already be easy. Fans guards spot the airborne opening and order archers to shoot while dodging is impossible. A disciplined bowman draws back at once, lining the arrowhead directly with the suspended target. Multiple arrows rocket upward from several angles as the avatars keep their prey trapped overhead. Spinning midair, he deflects the first volley and recognizes the non-awakened archers as exceptionally trained. The administrator's better-fed soldiers exceed normal fitness, while limited air mobility makes blocking every shaft impossible. Seeing one strike land, the archers celebrate and redirect the next volley toward his face. Still suspended above the blades, he watches fresh arrows close while keeping his weapon ready. Throwing the sword could eliminate the shooters, but Zhang might intercept its return and leave him defenseless. Before the decision becomes necessary, a blue-charged stone tears through the volley. Yezi has joined. Accepting his brother's courage, Zai launches another shot and promises to expose the enemy's weak points. 2 charged projectiles slam into the shield formation, bursting dust across the front line. The impact blooms into another white cloud, but the guards immediately realize this smoke is different. Zhang orders the crossbowman onto Zai until a choking subordinate identifies eye-stinging lime hidden inside. He awakened 6 months earlier and gained few levels, yet his cautious personality stockpiled clever tricks. While Lime cripples the ranged support, Zhang's remaining avatar and main body dive from opposite angles. Their unequal speeds expose the slower Shadow as an avatar, giving the defender a precise first target. He pivots under attack and commits his amplified slash to eliminating that duplicate first. The cut lands, yet the wounded Shadow never slows. Apparently, these constructs cannot feel pain. Simply injuring it means nothing, so he decides complete immobilization is the only answer. A second golden arc sweeps through its center, aiming to split the avatar completely. The shadow body separates and dissolves, while Zhang Kun visibly recoils from the distant destruction. Shocked by the sudden loss, the vicious hound demands how his opponent disrupted the technique. The answer becomes a strategic revelation. Destroying avatars transfers damage into the main body, so movement remains essential. The office lackeys finally relocate him and scramble shields and bows toward the moving target, but the 90-second strength boost is nearly exhausted, forcing immediate action before that power collapses. He repays the earlier arrow with a blazing downward sweep, punishing the tyrants who enabled the settlement's cruelty. As dusk clears, Zhang and the surviving avatar converge again, finally pinning their elusive target. One duplicate is gone until the cooldown ends, so the enforcer knows this exchange must become final. The main body and last shadow crash in together, catching the swordsman in a two-sided collision. At the worst moment, independent research and development 1 expires and the boosted force vanishes from his blade. Zhang feels the difference immediately and laughs that the temporary strength enhancement has already ended. Zhang assumes Zhao owns only one word attribute and commits full level 9 strength to crush him. Certain the weakened guard cannot hold, the vicious hound roars that victory is finally his. Yet his opponent answers with chilling calm. Zhang has declared the finish far too early. Independent Research and Development 2 activates, pouring a 450% strength boost into the next 3 minutes. Raw power erupts through the clash, shattering nearby stone as the counterattack swallows both attackers. Zhang stares in disbelief. The supposed last burst is weaker than this terrifying second enhancement. Maintaining pressure, Zhao coldly asks whether the level 9 enforcer can survive his return strike. He drives the blade upward, a golden arc blasting through the remaining avatar and main body. The answer is obvious. Zhang cannot withstand the force, and his earlier confidence collapses. One decisive sweep finishes the vicious hound, and the system confirms Zhang Kun has been slain. Smoke and debris roll across the office while poisoned rebels stare toward the shattered battlefield. Zai can barely believe Chengzi actually defeated the administrator's infamous level 9 executioner. His freed father and uncles marvel at that growth, daring to believe today's rebellion still has hope. Fan Dahu's rage boils over after watching his trusted Kunzi fall before a younger fighter. Stepping over fallen bodies, Zhao turns toward the administrator and makes him the next target. He demands payment for every cruel act the ruler inflicted upon settlement number 226. Fan laughs off the accusation, claiming population gains make him a hero despite countless deaths. To prove his contempt, the tyrant kicks Aunt Zhang and boasts his reputation protected her. Furious, Zai targets Fan's head through his cracked goggles and screams for him to stop. A blue-charged projectile tears across the compound, racing straight toward the level 10 administrator. Fan catches the speeding stone in one bare fist, sneering that Zai cannot threaten his head. Shocked, Zai remembers Butcher's precision-guided that shot, something even Cheng Zi would struggle to catch. The administrator surges through the smoke, promising to teach this interfering kid a lesson in power. His fist barrels forward with murderous force, declaring that true strength belongs only to him. Zai freezes before the impossible speed and violence, unable to evade the charging level 10 monster. Before impact, Zhao crashes between them and intercepts the blow with his curved blade. Relieved, his friend grabs another bomb while receiving orders to keep disrupting Fan's vision. Killing such an awakened tyrant demands every advantage, so the swordsman refuses any honorable duel. Zai agrees instantly and circles for another support shot while the two fighters separate. Fan suddenly bypasses his chosen opponent, turning the next terrifying rush directly toward the supporter. He drives a crushing fist downward, calling Zai a pest unworthy of interrupting their duel. Horrified by the targeted assault, Zhao shouts his friend's name and launches himself after Fan. Fury accelerates his pursuit, bringing the green-lit blade down before the administrator can finish Zai. Fan blocks that empowered/barehanded, acknowledging the strength that killed Jiang Kun. Yet he dismisses the level 7 challenger as someone carried entirely by extraordinary word attributes. Zhao strains against one hand, realizing Fan's level 10 physique exceeds even Dungeon 226's wild boar boss. Rather than continue, the ruler offers equal partnership, luxury, and forgiveness for killing his two enforcers. The answer is absolute refusal. Population growth cannot excuse the suffering caused by cruel newcomers. He condemns Fan's recruits as thieving oppressors who occupy homes and brutalize residents without restraint. Still locked at close range, he swears never to conspire with a tyrant like Fan Dahu. Fan mocks the refusal as childish heroism, deciding Zhao wants to imitate the very ideal he despises. Red energy erupts as he attacks again, promising to grant that heroic wish personally. Between blows, he warns that Apocalypse cruelty is far harsher than naive morality can understand. According to Fan, only iron-fisted control prevented rival settlements from swallowing number 226 long ago. Massive Body activates, raising his health and defense by 50% as his frame expands. Recognizing Fan's first word attribute, Zhao reignites Flame Enchantment around the curved blade. The administrator calls residents useless burdens, claiming a little tribute is fair payment for protection. He scorns their resentment and invokes his own father, another supposedly soft-hearted fool who trusted everyone. A memory resurfaces. Young Fan once panicked whenever his battered father returned from protecting the settlement. The wounded man called every injury a medal, proudly telling his son he was everyone's hero. Later, amid rain and scattered bodies, the boy desperately called for a father who no longer answered. That loss twisted respect into contempt. Fan now brands selfless protection meaningless without personal reward. Charging through fire, he accuses Zhao of repeating the same suicidal dream of becoming a hero. Hatred surges higher because nothing disgusts him more than people embracing his father's principles. Fan leans into the attack with manic delight, demanding whether this challenger still wants heroism. Zhao braces behind the burning blade, as Fan promises heroes like him belong underground. Flame and Crimson Power collide head-on, blasting a violent shockwave across the compound. Strength remains unchanged, revealing massive body boosts durability instead, so the strategy shifts toward cooldowns. Refresh once activates, resetting independent research and development. He immediately reactivates IR&D1, restoring its 300% strength surge for another 90 seconds. Fan realizes in horror that his opponent's strength can climb yet again beyond the previous burst. He retreats under renewed pressure, desperately guessing this impossible enhancement comes from a burst attribute. Refusing to hide anything now, Zhao reactivates IR&2 and restores the 450% strength boost. A flaming aerial slash crashes onto Fan's guard, forcing the enlarged administrator backward. The impact multiplies several times over, leaving even massive body's hardened defense aching from shock. Without allowing recovery, the blazing swordsman chains crossing cuts into a relentless overhead barrage. Fan finally understands no single ordinary attribute could produce these changing power levels from a level 7 fighter. Worse, Flame Enchantment leaves supernatural fire clinging stubbornly across his wounded shoulder. Realizing a prolonged exchange will kill him, the tyrant searches desperately for another method. His gaze lands on the motionless Zai, revealing a cruel hostage plan and immediate escape route. Before executing it, he activates Valor, increasing strength by 30% and roaring Zhao Cheng's name. The second attribute barely narrows the gap, confirming the Codex enhanced abilities hold a massive advantage. Sensing momentum, he pursues through the flames, determined to strike while Fan's defense remains heated. The next burning arc descends toward the administrator's exposed upper body with finishing force. Fan chooses a brutal counterplan. Accept damage from the wide swing and create one opening. Zhao notices too late that his opponent never resisted, allowing the blade to pass cleanly. The tyrant sacrifices an entire arm, escaping the swing and lunging straight for unconscious Zai. His remaining hand clamps around the friend's neck before the shocked swordsman can reverse direction. Groaning through the loss, Fan admits the sacrificed limb was bait designed to create this opening. Holding Zai upright, he orders Zhao Cheng to drop the blade or watch his friend's neck snap. Zhao condemns the hostage tactic, stunned that Fan Dahu would stoop this low to survive. Fan rejects shame entirely. Only the strong survive the apocalypse, and Zai's neck will buy compliance. Dropping the blade means his timed boost will expire, leaving him unable to win afterward. Refusing instead means immediate death for his best friend, trapping him between two disasters. Poisoned and bleeding, Lu Fu interrupts, asking why the oppressed residents waited years before rebelling. Fan assumes they finally acted for Zi, cruelly mocking Lu Fu's silence when his mother died. The rebel leader denies it. Everyone endured because they still owed an enormous debt to Fan's father. Hearing that forgotten man invoked, the one-armed administrator momentarily loses his smug composure. Lu Fu calls him every resident's hero, remembering the warrior who defended number 226 from invasion. When settlement number 119 attacked, that protector sacrificed his life to prevent a greater tragedy. Because Fan was the hero's son, residents endured exploitation while hoping he would eventually change. But Lu Fu overheard the truth 1 year earlier, destroying that final reason for patience. Fan's men bragged their boss would drain number 226, then become settlement number 119's deputy administrator. They dreamed of pig farms, meat, and status beyond a ruined settlement surviving on cassava. Lu Fu exposes the betrayal. Fan planned to serve the very people who fatally wounded his father. The accusation changes nothing. Fan says his father deserved death for choosing foolish heroism. He refuses lifelong confinement, believing settlement number 119 can lead him toward the mysterious company. Returning to the hostage, he begins a 3 count and promises Zai's corpse if the weapon stays raised. At 3, Zhao can only stare at his unconscious friend, sweat breaking across his face. Before 2 finishes, engines thunder into the compound. A convoy flying settlement number 119's flag has arrived. Fan celebrates that his scheduled pickup has arrived, convinced settlement number 19 guarantees Zhao's defeat. Still holding the hostage, he shouts his name and orders the convoy to crush every rebel. Heavy vehicles skid to a stop beneath number 119's banner, surrounding the damaged office grounds. Uniformed, blade-carrying fighters pour from troop trucks, forming a disciplined force behind their leader. Zhao considers escaping for later revenge, but Zai, Lu Fu, and Aunt Zhang would certainly die. Unable to abandon them, he keeps the blade raised while Fan mocks fighting skill without allies. The tyrant boasts superior numbers make survival impossible, certain the outsider will decide everything. Zhang Mimi steps forward, the silver-haired, purple-eyed current administrator of settlement number 119. Fan immediately releases Zai and grovels before Administrator Zhang, praising the rare honor of this meeting. He gushes that a personal pickup must be a blessing earned over several lifetimes. Seizing the opening, Zhao catches his friend and confirms with relief that Zai still breathes. From Lu Fu's warnings, he recognizes Zhang as ruler of a vast settlement housing tens of thousands. That administrator's aura dwarfs both Fan and the dungeon boss, placing victory beyond his present power. Yet Zhang rebuffs the approaching subordinate, demanding information about someone under threat of execution. Eager to serve, Fan promises anyone from number 226, while privately wondering why Zhang fails to recognize him. The requested name is Zhao Cheng, instantly turning the entire standoff toward the exhausted swordsman. Pointing him out, Fan claims this teenager incited rebellion and openly defied the company's system. He assumes the powerful visitor came specifically to help, declaring the wounded challenger finished. Zhang asks whether Zhao intends to seize control of number 226 through this uprising. Fan confirms everything and demands justice for the arms sacrificed during their battle. Zhang confirms the man supporting Z is Zhao Cheng, instantly narrowing the entire standoff upon him. He answers without hesitation, despite knowing this administrator could overpower everyone still standing there. Instead of attacking, Zhang questions how level 10 Fan lost an arm to a mere teenager. Fan begins a desperate explanation, still expecting his new patron to punish the rebellion. Zhang cuts him off and raises a glowing finger weapon straight toward his terrified face. One energy blast ends Fan Dahu, because his usefulness expired once Zhao's identity was verified. As the corpse drops, Zhang calmly proposes discussing rebellion now that the troublesome administrator is gone. Seeing Fan eliminated first, he fears number 119's forces will target his exhausted companions next. But the visitor reveals urgent orders from an important figure required the nearest large settlement administrator to help Zhao. Still guarding Zai, he asks the obvious question, what proof makes this rescue trustworthy? Zhang approves the caution and reaches into his jacket for a small octagonal object. According to the messenger, merely showing that particular token should settle every remaining doubt. Its compass face reveals Guanju's perception pointer. She truly summoned number 119 to rescue them. Shocked, he wonders how the mysterious heiress can command even a large settlement's administrator. The reinforcements also unload gifts her messenger supplied, completing the proof through action. Bags and crates contain flour, pickled meat, and pickled fish, treasures for starving number 226. Zhang then presents Fan's administrative certificate explaining company recognition and legal authority depend upon it. Anyone accepting the card can officially become settlement number 226's true, company-recognized administrator. The authority Uncle Liu risked his family and rebellion to win now rests within immediate reach. Declaring him the best candidate, Zhang offers Zhao Cheng the certificate and control of number 226. Taking the certificate, he counts this rescue as debt to Guanju and vows to repay her. Zhang immediately summons medics, ordering them to save Zia and every poisoned or wounded rebel. He then mentions another gift from the mysterious patron, though accepting it remains entirely optional. Curious about the final offer, the new certificate holder demands to know what it is. Zhang invites him to number 119 for a special trial arranged by that powerful backer. Passing will earn an opportunity to join the company, the same unreachable dream Fan once coveted. The offer reveals Brahma Company, an ancient institution whose reach spans far beyond individual settlements. Every settlement, citizen, and territory across the eastern continent supposedly falls beneath its absolute jurisdiction. Employees receive food, shelter, safety, advancement medicines, and resources ordinary survivors can scarcely imagine. Joining is therefore life's greatest dream, yet he names Uncle Lu the better administrator for number 226. Zhang forces a choice: take number 119's trial or remain here managing the newly liberated settlement. The answer seems inevitable. Company agents took his sister, and entering their world could finally lead to her. Still, medics are only beginning to treat Zai, Lu Fu, and the poison survivors. Frightened residents fill the compound, so somebody must restore order before another journey can begin. He requests 2 days. Zhang agrees, demanding a final answer before that deadline passes. Relieved to gain breathing room, the exhausted fighter accepts the surprisingly reasonable condition. Watching from aside, Zhang wonders how this settlement kid became connected to someone so influential. Then ambition surfaces. Claim rescue credit, control Zhao, and use his potential to climb company ranks. Later, a campfire burns as scattered residents gather for their settlement's first free assembly. Bandaged Lu Fu announces every survivor from settlement number 226's West Hill district has arrived. Once every resident assembles, Lu Fu announces a decision that will define their newly liberated home. He credits Zhao Cheng with defeating Fan and Jiang Kun, arguing company recognition makes him their unanimous leader. Yet the chosen hero immediately offers the certificate back, insisting experienced Uncle Lu should govern. Aunt Zhang hesitates because the settlement needs powerful protectors, while recovered Zai watches beside her. He refuses permanent rule. Finding his sister comes first, and the Lu family's awakened fighters can defend everyone. Residents reconsider, agreeing Lu Fu's age, experience, knowledge, brothers, and character make him the stronger choice. Still gripping the certificate, Lu Fu fears unchecked power could eventually transform him into another Fan Dahu. The crowd admits bloodline guarantees nothing. The previous hero's own son became a tyrant nobody expected. But the rebel leader has prepared an answer, calling Brother Fu to reveal what they discussed. Raising a book titled Law, he explains ancient nations govern through rules and proposes the same. 15 laws drafted before the uprising will bind everyone equally, with annual revisions as conditions change. Residents quickly prefer shared rules over blindly obeying whatever one powerful administrator ever decides. Watching approval spread, he realizes educated Lu Fu and bookish Zi planned far more wisely. The administrator certificate rests at Lu Fu's feet, silently completing the transfer of responsibility. Now confident in their prepared government, he walks away ready to pursue his sister. Heading toward Zhang's waiting convoy, he briefly assumes the next journey will be faced alone. A familiar voice stops him. Zai angrily demands whether disappearing without goodbye still counts as brotherhood. Fully bandaged yet swaggering with drink and pack bag, his best friend refuses abandonment. Smiling at the supposed farewell, he asks whether Zai really came only to see him off. The answer is pure loyalty. Zai is joining. Certain Chengzi cannot become important without him. Surprised by this rebellion, he asks whether Zai's parents actually approved their son's departure. Of course not. Zai snuck out, left a note, and plans returning only after earning fame. He even promises Xiao Yu marriage once he returns successful, delivering the vow with theatrical confidence. Zhao urges him back before Uncle Lu and Aunt Zhang discover the escape and start worrying. Instead, his stubborn brother grabs the departing cloak, refusing to release this shared future. Quoting an ancient poem, Zi compares Zhao to a great rock soaring 90,000 miles. He admits that magnificent flight inspires him because he wants to become a great rock too. The world is vast, and Lu Zi refuses to remain an unknown nobody within it. His friend's rising wind has ignited ambition, giving the injured dreamer courage to leave home. That fierce sincerity finally makes the reluctant traveler understand this decision cannot be dismissed. He starts offering permission to quit when things become difficult, but Z mocks him first. Laughing together, the brothers reach the convoy while Zhang lights another cigarette and quietly watches. Seeing their ambition, Administrator Zhang remarks that the wind itself seems ready to rise. Under the enormous full moon, number 119's vehicles finally rumble away from the liberated settlement. Their driver praises both youths, claiming years of service never included a personal mission with Zhang. Zhao realizes Zai's family ties may eventually pull him home, unlike his own lonely path. Hoping to ease that homesickness, he changes topics and raises a question held for years. The cheerful driver eagerly invites anything, promising to share every answer he knows. He asks whether number 119's administrator truly killed number 226's former ruler, Fan Dahu's heroic father. The suddenly sweating driver loses his confidence, awkwardly beginning an explanation about that old incident. Zai recognizes the attempted distraction but finds his brother's conversation-destroying question painfully awkward. The driver corrects history. Zhang killed number 119's predecessor, while that predecessor killed Fan Dahu's father. Unlike the expansionist predecessor, Zhang prioritized internal development, turning starvation into monthly access to meat. That dramatic improvement explains why number 119's ordinary residents genuinely admire their current administrator. The driver jokes anyone capable of killing an administrator can claim the position, fascinating Zhao completely. Zai silently despairs because his supposedly clever brother somehow missed the explanation's entire moral. Then a fishy stench hits Zhao's nose, warning that mutated beasts are rapidly approaching. Across the surrounding ridges, a massive pack of red-eyed canine predators closes around the convoy. Zai immediately mistakes the attackers for mutated wolves and curses their terrible recurring luck. Zhao identifies mutated dogs instead, smaller animals reckless enough to attack vehicles in overwhelming numbers. As dogs leap onto the moving trucks, startled Zai praises his friend's beast knowledge. Their driver remains relaxed, insisting Administrator Zhang is far stronger than either passenger imagines. From the lead vehicle, Zhang merely orders everyone to cover their ears, and the convoy obeys. The silver-haired administrator draws one measured breath, preparing an attack without leaving his seat. A colossal golden beast visage erupts behind him as concentrated power floods the roadway. Activating Gold Word attribute Beast King's Roar, Zhang commands the entire hunting pack to disappear. Concentric shockwaves explode across the convoy, blasting mutated dogs away from every moving vehicle. Even covering both ears, Zhao reels beneath the overwhelming volume and recognizes a word attribute attack. Zai reaches the same conclusion, stunned by the sheer strength of this sonic-type ability. Laughing through the punishing roar, their driver proudly repeats that Administrator Zhang is absolutely amazing. The surviving dogs finally retreat, proving Zhang's brutal sonic warning can scatter entire wild packs. Level 25 Deputy Administrator Bai Rong quietly criticizes his leader for making such a demonstrative spectacle. Zhang dismisses concern, contemptuously labeling Zhao a pretty boy exploiting an important patron's favor. Having climbed step by step, he especially despises ambitious outsiders who advance through shortcuts. Bai starts objecting, but Zhang promises public restraint while refusing private supervision from his subordinate. He wants higher rank without groveling, believing usefulness to powerful people excuses smaller transgressions. The convoy enters walled settlement number 119, crossing broad farmland toward its crowded illuminated center. Uniformed guards salute Administrator Zhang's returning vehicle, clearing the streets for their powerful ruler. Bai escorts both visitors into temporary quarters because every proper house already belongs to someone. Their dusty brick room is crude, though Zai notes its smaller holes beat his colder home. Before leaving, the deputy hands them written instructions issued by the company for tomorrow's trial. He also warns that numerous candidates will participate, meaning these outsiders receive no exclusive advantage. Zai gratefully takes the paper, relieved nobody expects him to memorize complicated spoken directions. Zhao immediately collapses onto a filthy bed, making Bai wonder whether this humble guest truly has connections. The deputy departs after explaining a guard remains outside and will answer any immediate request. Trial instructions demand clearing a white-level dungeon restricted below level 10, slightly stronger than dungeon 226. From the bed, Zhao asks how many candidates enter and how many positions the company offers. Zai checks carefully, but the written notice provides neither of those crucial numbers anywhere. That omission reveals two conditions: kill the dungeon boss and survive competition among every participant. His partner agrees, realizing desperate candidates will inevitably besiege whoever reaches and defeats the boss. Remembering Dungeon 226's brutal cost, Zhao knows defeating another boss head-on would be foolish. Better let rival hunters tear each other apart than collect the prize. Though Guanju unexpectedly invades his thoughts, Zai instantly catches that distant look and cheerfully accuses his friend of missing the purple-haired heiress. Refusing the bait, he turns over while the matchmaker orders him to sleep before tomorrow's serious business. Yet the lecture continues, warning about teenage hormones, self-control, and whatever feelings involve that girl. Zhao finally cuts him off, insisting Guanju and they belong to entirely different worlds. With one sharp command to shut up and sleep, he ends the embarrassing interrogation. Zai relents, imagining both friends gaining status once they pass the trial and join the company. Elsewhere, Zhang concludes his guest shows no obvious contempt towards settlement number 119's administrator. Still, he cannot dismiss the possibility that the well-connected newcomer is simply hiding it perfectly. Tomorrow's company examiner will settle matters because genuine ability must finally reveal itself inside the trial. Bai Rong wonders why his leader cares so deeply about one visiting Zhao. Zhang sees his younger self there. Same rare talent, oppression endured, and rebellion launched against tyranny. More importantly, this youth has powerful backing, something the administrator never possessed during his own rise. Admitting jealousy partly fuels his interest, Zhang folds away the note with a knowing smile. Yet Bai silently questions whether his leader's explanation contains even half the truth. Morning finally breaks across the surrounding mountains, announcing the company's dangerous examination day. At settlement number 119's white-level dungeon entrance, guards contain a huge crowd of candidates. They hear awakening stones are common in prosperous settlements, while safe dungeon-clearing talent remains rare. Zhang reviews the simple rules: stay alive, clear the dungeon, and prove yourselves worthy. Survivors must return after clearing to qualify, while company benefits need absolutely no sales pitch. With one final wish of luck, the administrator fixes Zhao with a deliberately challenging stare. Zai notices their host watching and immediately interprets that silent pressure as open provocation. Candidates stampede through the portal, chasing free access, monster experience, and easy retreat if outmatched. When his companion questions Yong's motive, Zhao expects the man will eventually reveal it himself. That confident answer collapses into admitted uncertainty, earning instant exasperation from his skeptical friend. As the last candidates vanish, Zhang and Bai calmly watch the portal from a nearby rooftop. Another roof hides a hooded young woman whose elderly butler warns against revealing herself publicly. She confirms being the company's true examiner, secretly scouting conditions while keeping her cloak firmly on. Inside, yin erosion drives candidates to scatter quickly among numerous branching tunnels and caves. One cheerful adventurer chooses left purely because he considers that direction personally lucky. Reaching the same fork, Zai asks his far calmer partner which tunnel they should take. Before any decision, the convoy's familiar purple-haired driver rushes wanders over, delighted to find them. He loudly celebrates their lucky reunion, greeting both newcomers like treasured little brothers. The trial also accepts number 119 residents, and he wants security for his wife and children. Naturally, the friendly driver proposes forming one team where all three can protect each other. A frantic silent exchange passes between the suspicious visitors before either responds aloud. Zai suspects Jiang planted this apparent ally as an assassin and expects an immediate rejection. Zhao catches that warning perfectly, then answers with a strategy his friend never anticipated. Joining their team will cost 200 supply tickets, a demand that leaves Zai speechless. Zai slowly realizes his partner understood the secret signal yet spectacularly ignored its intended meaning. The driver happily accepts, revealing Zhang pays him 800 supply tickets every month. From a narrow crevice, another candidate secretly watches the freshly formed trio walk away. Her detection ability reads Zhao's unusual aura and identifies him as a radiant word attribute user. That staggering discovery transforms an ordinary team-up opportunity into a potentially life-saving alliance. Still concealed behind stone, the observer weighs courage against the danger of approaching strangers. Meanwhile, their driver declares a gang. Zhao leads, he ranks second, and Zai comes third. The hidden girl wants radiant protection, but her painful shyness around unfamiliar boys blocks her. Hua Xiaoman remembers her settlement's desperate families and orders herself to become brave enough for them. Up ahead, Zai questions whether their guide knows this dungeon before blindly choosing another passage. Unfortunately, the cave appeared recently, and warnings about its danger previously kept the driver outside. As visibility worsens, Zai boasts that unavoidable head-on battles perfectly suit his fearless fighting style. Their impressed guide praises that courage, while Zhao privately recognizes another convincing bluff. Suddenly detecting movement ahead, he silences everyone before the tunnel can spring its ambush. Twin curved blades slide free as both teammates finally realize real danger is closing fast. Hidden Xiaoman panics that she has been spotted, debating whether to introduce herself or retreat. Instead, multiple creatures smash through the cave walls and floor, surrounding all three adventurers. Steel claw rats emerge at levels 6, 7, and 8, each larger and deadlier. Xiaoman exhales in relief because the warning concerned monsters rather than her awkward surveillance. Zhao assigns both weaker rats to his teammates, taking level 8 before promising immediate backup. Zai objects that their lower levels make survival impossible if level 8 delays Zhao too long. Asked for an alternative, the self-proclaimed strategist proudly steps forward to command the battlefield. Borrowing Tianji's horse racing tactic, he proposes sacrificing their weakest fighter against the strongest rat. Their strongest fighter would quickly eliminate the weakest monster, then reinforce the struggling sacrificial teammate. The confused driver asks how these human horses should be ranked, receiving one simple answer: levels. Zhao stands at level 7, driver Zhang Dahua at 5, and horrified Zai at 4. When the chained level 8 monster charges, their designated inferior horse instantly loses his nerve. One look at those enormous claws makes him abandon strategy and demand Zhao's original assignments. All three steel claw rats surge forward, confirming this dungeon's baseline danger exceeds Dungeon 226. Zhao meets the level 8 attacker head-on, remembering Dungeon 226's quasi-boss was only level 5. Elsewhere, Z asks Zhang Dahua for cover while he targets the weaker rat's vulnerable eyes. His blue slingshot shots connect, staggering both monsters and earning excited praise from their protector. The driver orders an immediate retreat, helping the ranged fighter create distance from those furious beasts. Determined never to become another hostage, Zai vows to use his strengths and control this battle. Across the cave, the level 8 rat dives at Zhao with both steel claws extended. Bronze polishing activates, boosting the monster's damage and speed by 15% each. He recognizes the enemy's word attribute just as its already dangerous charge accelerates further. Cyan power coats both claws, turning the incoming strike into a sharpened whirlwind of steel. Unfazed, Zhao activates Flame Enchantment and welcomes the creature's reckless attempt to settle everything. His blazing blade crashes through the descending attack, smashing directly into the giant rat's body. Both research and development passives pushed his strength beyond level 7, making this enemy hopelessly outclassed. The level 8 rat falls, while Far Ahead amplifies its experience reward by 75%. Reaching 34% experience, he immediately turns toward his lower-level friend's ongoing struggle. Zhang Dahua races through the cave carrying Zai, while two furious rats maintain pursuit. Their improvised escape works surprisingly well, with the professional driver once again transporting precious cargo. Yet Zhao notices both rats move 30% slower than expected, exceeding any level-based difference. Their wrinkled noses suggest a hidden word attribute is secretly disrupting the creature's sense of smell. Since the concealed helper assisted them, he postpones confrontation until every remaining rat is dead. Burning blade ready, Zhao closes on the chase, planning to question that mysterious supporter afterward. Zai activates weak point identification and launches more blue projectiles from Zhang Dahua's moving shoulder. Both shots smash into the rat's vulnerable eyes, interrupting their chase with synchronized agony. Zhang praises the remarkable accuracy while continuing to carry his delighted little brother forward. The marksman proudly credits his gold word attribute, declaring ordinary rats completely beneath him. Facing repeated eye shots, the injured monsters abandon direct pursuit and prepare another coordinated maneuver. Their sudden halt puzzles both runners, who expected the chase to continue without hesitation. Then both creatures slam their claws downward, breaking through solid stone and burrowing underground. Zaizi realizes their intention immediately, warning that an underground ambush is coming next. His carrier barely understands before panic demands movement instead of another complicated explanation. Ordered to sprint, Zhang accelerates with Zaizi aboard, trying to outrun the buried attackers. Too late. The first steel claw rat erupts through the tunnel wall directly beside them. A second beast attacks from below, trapping Zhang between two claws while he protects his passenger. Facing catastrophic injury, the terrified driver worries his wife will finish whatever those rats begin. Hidden nearby, Xiaoman sees their desperate position and realizes subtle interference will no longer suffice. She activates maximum strength special gold scent manipulation, flooding the tunnel with swirling purple odor. The overwhelming stench assaults both rats' sensitive noses, freezing their attacks before impact. Zhao seizes that perfect opening, reaching the trapped pair with his flaming weapon ready. One enormous blazing sweep tears through both distracted monsters, ending the coordinated ambush instantly. Far Ahead raises his experience to 85%, proving advancement grows harder at higher levels. Zhang gratefully calls him brother for saving his future happiness, while Zai's mercilessly mocks that terror. More importantly, shared battle experience finally pushes the delighted marksman from level 4 to 5. After celebrating, he watches Zhao openly thank their hidden helper and invite that person forward. Both companions finally learn someone else was nearby, though neither knows who should appear. Nervous Hua Xiaoman steps from hiding, embarrassed that her secret assistance was discovered. Zai immediately pretends he recognized a girl long ago, impressing absolutely nobody beside him. Zhang quietly exposes that bluff, reminding him they had been equally confused moments earlier. Zhao welcomes the newcomer calmly, explaining her earlier help already proves she is no enemy. He thanks Xiaoman directly and declares the whole group now owes her a genuine debt. Zhang and Ziai exchange bewildered looks, still unaware exactly how this shy stranger helped. Their leader explains her hidden ability slowed both pursuing preventing serious injuries to them. Understanding dawns, and grateful Zhang instantly promotes the embarrassed girl to family jewel-saving lifesaver. Zhao promises that if they meet again, his group will repay Xiaoman with everything possible. With that debt acknowledged, the three companions resume their urgent march and bid her farewell. Left behind, Xiaoman realizes missing this rare alliance may destroy her only real chance. She finally gathers her courage, calling after them and asking permission to join. Zai instantly supports her request, privately marveling that Chengzi somehow attracts another pretty girl. Their leader refuses enthusiasm, warning the dungeon boss may turn this partnership into a funeral. Unshaken, Xiaoman must join the company and feed relatives waiting back in settlement number 347. Returning empty-handed would hurt worse than dying, so retreat simply isn't an option for her. Bowing desperately, she repeats her plea and asks them to let her fight beside them. Even after hearing everything, he gives one calm, unmistakable answer: sorry, but absolutely no. Zhang and Zia stare in disbelief, because that rejection completely shatters their romantic predictions. Confused and wounded, Xiaoman asks whether her weakness or some hidden flaw caused his refusal. He lists 3 reasons: her safety, unwanted attention, and a safer path through Jiangmimi. The Settlement 119 administrator would likely provide food, leaving Xiaoman suspicious this excuse hides something. He insists her unusual power likely makes her stronger than either companion, then leaves belief to her. Zai explodes at the insult, while Zhang admits they look ridiculously weak beside their leader. Xiaoman accepts his reasoning, calls him good-hearted, and parts with hope they'll meet again. As she disappears, Zai jokes that loyalty to one rich young lady inspired this rejection. Walking deeper without turning, he quietly assures his best friend that Yezi is not weak. Pride restored, the marksman smiles and insists nobody needs to explain his obvious greatness. Zhang compares their loyalty to Zhang and Bai, suspecting Zhao might be some dignitary's favorite. That possibility leaves the planted driver studying his mysterious new boss with renewed suspicion. Before Zia can finish asking, his friend correctly guesses the real question: why accept Zhang? The answer lands like lightning. Zhang Mimi deliberately planted the driver inside their team. Anyone trusted with precious supply trucks must be a confidant, proving Zhang takes them seriously. Zai starts questioning the administrator's motives, but his next step interrupts that dangerous thought. His boot catches something on the floor, sending an indignant yelp echoing through the tunnel. What tripped him is no stone, but a horribly wounded woman lying motionless in darkness. Zhang recognizes a Settlement 119 fighter already at level 9, supposedly protected by a team. Her impossible death makes him fear these inner monsters dwarf everything near the entrance. Examining the remains, Zhao finds monster injuries, yet identifies a sharp human weapon as fatal. Nearby, countless other candidates lie concealed together, evidence someone deliberately hid an entire slaughter. Zhang recognizes her entire team among them, including one awakened fighter who reached level 10. The victims were ambushed after monsters weakened them, confirming human hunters struck shockingly early. Zhao suspects enemies from within Settlement 119, exposing just how fractured its population really is. Sweat pours down Zhang's face as this grim accusation leaves him unable to answer. A drilling roar roar suddenly interrupts them, and something enormous bursts through the ceiling overhead. The attacker reveals itself as an elite level 10 drill fierce rat, explaining the carnage. Twisting like a living auger, the monster plunges straight toward the startled driver below. A desperate warning sends Zhang aside while Zhao dives clear before the drilling impact. Zhao realizes this elite monster rivals the old demon boar's force, despite not being a boss. While the trio recovers, unseen observers remain hidden behind a narrow opening in the stone. Two tattooed hunters recognize Zhang's confidant and decide to repeat their previous patient ambush. Oblivious to them, the drill-fierce rat resumes spinning with absurdly monstrous acceleration. Zai protests that aside from its head, nothing about this nightmare resembles any ordinary rat. Their strategist reconstructs the killer's method: wait for mutual damage, then finish weakened survivors. Suspecting someone still watches from a hidden tunnel, he chooses to expose that threat immediately. Eliminating the ambusher now will prevent interference when the real boss battle demands everything. First, he uses the elite rat as bait, ordering Yezi to reveal its vulnerable point. The trap requires faking injuries, exactly how his sister taught him to hunt mutated vultures. Butcher's precision activates, and the marksman directs his charging friend toward the monster's chest. His controlled opening slash touches that center point, shaving only 1% from its health. A killing blow would ruin everything, so he carefully restrains power while maintaining the performance. Another deliberately sloppy strike drops 15%, advertising weakness without ending the dangerous monster. The rat counterattacks violently, and Zhao accepts a punishing hit to sell their vulnerability. Furious for his brother, Zai unleashes multiple shots, despite Zhang warning that attention will follow. Blue projectiles pepper the beast, dealing tiny fragments of damage but provoking enormous fury. Exactly as warned, the drill-fierce rat abandons its first target and whirls toward them. Terror spreads as its horn charge locks onto the two exposed companions below. Zai fires while dodging, but each glancing shot barely scratches the relentless elite attacker. Clutching his bloodied chest, Zhao orders Yezi to run, unable to reveal the performance without ruining everything. Instead, his loyal idiot faces the accelerating drill, leaving the strategist silently questioning his intelligence. Zi declares fear impossible and draws his slingshot against the monster that wounded Chengzi. Ong tackles the reckless marksman aside just before the blazing horn tears through their position. The driver demands sanity, reminding his passenger that their attacker is a level 10 monster. Yet vengeance matters more because nobody gets to hurt his brother and escape punishment. He rises, reloads, and promises the cursed rat its reckoning while Ong watches uneasily. More blue shots strike home, convincing the driver their friendship truly carries life or death loyalty. Those irritating hits make the rat's horn flare brighter as another drilling charge gathers. The furious elite launches again, descending straight toward the exposed marksman and his protector. Zhang repays his debt by snatching Zai away at the final instant, moving unbelievably fast. Carried like cargo, the stunned shooter realizes this supposed level 5 driver outruns even Chengzi. Zhang confesses his real level 10 status and gold extreme speed, which boosts agility 30%. Zai immediately transforms the confession into strategy, appointing him chauffeur for a mobile firing platform. The level 10 speedster accepts confidently, taking responsibility for keeping both of them alive. Riding Zhang's back, the delighted marksman rains stones while taunting the furious rat without mercy. Repeated weak point hits chip away its health, turning the pursuit into a brutal endurance race. Despite gaining advantage, he worries Zhao needs urgent treatment after losing so much blood. Then his ammunition pouch comes up empty, abruptly ending their improvised drive-by bombardment. Right on cue, one hidden hunter emerges, mockingly offering the exhausted rat some assistance. A hidden stone clips Zhang's leg mid-sprint, and he cannot understand where it originated. The sabotage sends both companions crashing down directly beneath the enraged monster's descending claws. Convinced everything is over, they scream for Chengzi to escape while the drill closes. Instead, the wounded fighter launches through the explosion, committing everything to one decisive counterattack. His blade cleaves through the elite, defeating the level 10 drill fierce rat at last. When Zai protests, Zhao answers simply, since his brother stayed, running was never possible. More importantly, their genuine panic improves his deception, making the waiting killer believe absolute weakness. Zhang marvels that even badly injured, this young talent defeated a level 10 elite alone. Certain the kill will trigger level 8, Zhao trusts Advancement's recovery effect to restore his injuries. Far Ahead boosts the reward 75%, and the system confirms his rise to level 8. Eternal Evolution Codex immediately presents 3 new gold word attributes for his next extraction. Fire Tempering, Valor, and Independent Research and Development 3 appear, with the final option promising fusion. He chooses Independent Research and Development 3, recognizing Series Fusion as the extraordinary prize. Normal Awakened fighters gain attributes every 10 levels, requiring level 30 to complete 3-part series. At level 8, this anomaly authorizes fusion, granting power normally inaccessible before level 30. Multicolored energy erupts around him as the 3 related attributes begin merging into something greater. Watching recovery take hold, Zai postpones relief because Zhang's unexplained deception still demands answers. The driver helped repeatedly, yet hiding level 10 power makes his true purpose impossible to ignore. Trying charm first, Zhang offers dried meat his wife, packed for emergencies inside the dungeon. Z rejects that distraction and demands exactly why Zhang's man concealed his level and followed them. Cornered by the question, Zhang begins confessing another secret, but his explanation never arrives. The hidden Lei brothers attack, declaring Boss Hailey ordered every settlement 119 entrant eliminated. Zhang senses the sudden cyan blades and turns toward the attackers before impact. Extreme speed ignites, barely pulling both companions clear as energy shreds the surrounding stone. Recognition hits immediately. The infamous Lei brothers themselves have come to collect their weakened prey. The murderous pair mock Zhang's speed, admitting it alone prevented 3 immediate deaths. Both attackers are level 10. Elder Lei Chongshou and younger Lei Jiankong, Hailey's personal lieutenants. Zhang condemns them for hunting their own settlement's candidates. Certain administrator Zhang will retaliate. Zai asks whether these assassins are acquaintances, struggling to understand this murderous internal feud. His carrier explains they serve Deputy Administrator Hailey, not Zhang, making them enemies rather than allies. The unfamiliar title leaves a bewildered Zai asking exactly who this mysterious Hailey is. Haley and Zhang were comrades, but the warlike deputy's expansionist ideology transformed them into rivals. Zhao suspects this rival secretly partnered with Fan Dahu through promises and underhanded deals. If so, Haley shares responsibility for Settlement 226's suffering, creating another debt that demands payment. The brothers dismiss criticism from future corpses in charge, expecting an increased reward from their boss. Zhang postpones every explanation, focusing entirely on surviving 2 murderous level 10 opponents first. Spider Silk activates, flooding the cavern with adhesive cyan webs whose strength rises with level. The sealed entrance and sticky strands suppress extreme speed, stripping away their only advantage. Both lieutenants swing together, promising payment for Zhang's head and recommending a better next-life employer. With no escape left, Zhang apologizes to Zai and makes one desperate protective move. Zhang hurls Zai back toward Zhao, then charges alone before either companion can object. He orders both younger men to escape while his desperate last stand buys precious time. If they survive, his final request is telling his wife and daughter he faced death bravely. Changshou promises to deliver that message only after eliminating Zhang and both companions too. Before their blades connect, a barrage of stones interrupts the execution and shocks both attackers. Deflecting those projectiles takes tremendous effort because their force somehow exceeds the dungeon's level 10 limit. The brothers warn the badly injured outsider against meddling in Settlement 119's internal business. Seeing him barely upright, they conclude his serious wounds have already placed him near defeat. Their plan becomes simple: prolong combat until his remaining strength collapses, then finish him. He rejects neutrality completely. Zhang is his friend, and friends will not die before him. Overwhelmed, the driver finally understands Zhang recognized a kindred young talent, not some protected favorite. Changshou offers one last escape, demanding the outsider leave immediately with his useless lackey. Instead, Zhao calls Yezi forward, and his grinning brother instantly understands the coming counterplay. That defiance ruins the assassin's mood, transforming their conditional mercy into another death sentence. Cyan Silk gathers as both brothers decide to eliminate the younger pair before returning to Zhang. Confident severe injuries guarantee victory, they weave a glowing web around their apparently weakened enemies. Before fighting, Xiao asks whether either lieutenant knows a Settlement 226 administrator named Fan Dahu. They remember him as an idiot from Shang District whom Hailey ordered them to bargain with. The word bargain confuses Zai, while his friend prepares to hear their incriminating answer. They bought Settlement 226's crops cheaply, promising Fan entry into Settlement 119 until he surrendered everything. Zai realizes Healy's faction shares responsibility for Settlement 226's oppression and his people's deaths. Changshou claims revealing their identities earlier could have prevented trouble, then offers a supposedly generous deal. Kill Zhang, and the brothers promise Settlement 119 membership plus Fan Dahu's cooperation in releasing prisoners. The bargain enrages Zai, who connects their exploitation directly to his grandmother's painful death. His furious stone is deflected easily, while the assassins continue focusing on their target's apparent injuries. Rather than argue, the wounded fighter gives Yezi one simple command: identify their weak points. Butcher's precision activates, painting vulnerable markers across both level 10 brothers' bodies at once. Yezi calls neck, heart, and head, realizing his usually controlled friend is genuinely furious. 3 targets sound even better, so he lunges forward intending to strike every marked weakness. Zhang urgently recommends eliminating younger Jiankong first, identifying him as the weaker brother. Enraged by that advice, Jiankong silences Zhang and charges the white-haired threat himself. Zhang recoils as Jiankong roars his names and rushes straight into the prepared counterattack. A single brutal punch crashes into Jiankong's marked neck, dropping the younger assassin instantly. Changshou's confident expression collapses into horror as his younger brother falls without resistance. Turning calmly toward the survivor, the white-haired monster announces that Changshou's turn has arrived. Spider Silk erupts desperately, lashing around his limbs and torso before he can close distance. The glowing threads tighten everywhere, apparently immobilizing their captured target inside a reinforced cocoon. Flame enchantment suddenly activates inside the bindings, surrounding the trapped fighter with hellfire. Hellfire tears through the adhesive web, freeing him in a storm of crossing flame strikes. Standing over the fallen brothers, he dismisses the level 10 killers as far weaker than expected. The brothers misjudged his injuries, but activating the completed fusion sent every attribute skyrocketing. All three gold research abilities fuse into radiant transcendent technology, revealing the series' true potential. Afterward, he casually loots the fallen assassins, and Zhang marvels at such disciplined thrift. Their stash includes dried meat worth hundreds of tickets, while discarded clothing becomes Yezi's backpack. Zhang refuses any share, fearing Hailei's agents could recognize stolen clothes and endanger his family. Keeping everything together, the scavenger discovers hidden information inside the dead fierce rat's drill. Neither companion recognizes the strange prompt, though Yezi immediately suspects a buried treasure opportunity. The fierce rat's drill is actually a special key to the underground rat clan treasury, because treasure usually waits behind a dungeon's final boss. Finding its key early feels incredibly lucky. He hopes the vault contains a proper weapon for Yezi before stronger monsters appear. That quiet concern moves his friend, who realizes strength never made their partnership disposable. More hastily assassins may be waiting, so Zhang receives an offer to leave and warn Zhang. Zhang refuses, arguing his speed is essential because Yezi remains the group's obvious weak link. Yezi instantly catches the insult, launching Operation Mock Yezi while the embarrassed driver backpedals. Their ridiculous argument continues down the tunnel as the leader calmly walks ahead. Still offended, Yezi vows to repay today's humiliation hundredfold once his future greatness arrives. He credits ancient books for endless sayings, leaving Zhang genuinely impressed by the supposed scholar. The playful mood dies instantly when something horrifying appears farther down the passage. Another pile of mutilated candidates reveals the killers are openly slaughtering their competition. Zhang identifies these victims as outside participants, proving the massacre extends beyond Settlement 119. Stripped supplies confirm a deliberate massacre. Rival teams are thinning competition before the final boss. Transcendent technology has also sharpened his hearing, revealing fresh combat echoing somewhere ahead. Sensing possible profit, he leads the trio toward the clash while signaling for silence. They find several attackers cornering an exhausted young woman who warns everyone to stay back. The victim is Hua Xiaoman, barely sustaining scent manipulation while hostile fighters close in. A purple-haired commander mocks her appearance and orders a quick death before the boss contest. The trio is amazed, their timid acquaintance traveled this deeply through the dungeon alone. Her remaining scent barely slows two charging henchmen who continue swinging their weapons. With stamina exhausted and homebound relatives awaiting food, Xiaoman believes she has failed everyone. She regrets ignoring earlier advice to withdraw and seek Zhang's help, wishing for another chance. Both attackers leap for the finishing blow as her fading defense finally collapses. A golden crescent erupts between them, instantly cutting down both assailants before they connect. Her rescuer calmly tells the terrified girl to open her eyes because she survived. Recognizing him, Xiaoman brightens with disbelief that their paths crossed again this far inside. He sends her safely aside, promising to handle this dangerous rescue personally from here. The unfazed commander watches two subordinates die, revealing she expected and welcomes a direct fight. Calling him skilled, she approaches with flirtatious confidence instead of fear or grief. Her suggestive invitation carries a hidden threat, preparing something far more dangerous than seduction. A mind control word attribute activates as she proposes playing a few entertaining games together. Pink energy surrounds him with false attackers, while both companions urgently warn against mental control. The attack lands elsewhere. Yezi and Zhang fall under control, their eyes glowing pink. Because her power requires concealed intent, their warning spoiled the attempt to capture its true target. Xiaoman realizes the dead henchmen were controlled puppets, explaining their commander's total indifference. With friends enslaved, the swordsman concludes killing their controller is the fastest cure. She counters by offering her identity, confident two controlled hostages can guarantee enough hesitation. He refuses to negotiate and charges immediately, proving her prediction about his ruthlessness correct. Panicking, she orders both puppets to intercept, shocked that friendship cannot slow his murderous focus. The controlled companions lunge desperately, but their expressions reveal complete loss of self-command. Neither can match his fused speed, and a flame-enchanted blade reaches the controller first. Facing immediate death, she instead begs to explain a harmless, mutually beneficial alternative. A blade pins her throat, earning exactly one command from the attacker: speak. She reveals herself as a Settlement 119 candidate, then tries weaponizing flirtation to gain safety. Her real plan is temporary submission until Boss Jun's people can eliminate this dangerous outsider. Unimpressed, he asks whether seduction and vague promises are truly everything she offers. She claims everyone ahead serves her boss, whose orders reserve every company position for Settlement 119. Marriage would supposedly convert him into a local, making their partnership legitimate and mutually profitable. Watching anxiously, Xiaoman fears this survival-driven seductress will abandon any partner for greater strength. One question cuts through the performance. Is her mysterious superior actually Hailey too? She scoffs. Boss Jun outranks Hailey so completely that even Administrator Zhang addresses him respectfully. After hearing enough, he says he understands, while she assumes the alliance is secured. Understanding ends the conversation. One decisive slash eliminates the controller before another scheme can begin. Xiaoman is stunned, asking why such seemingly favorable terms still earned immediate execution. Three reasons follow: attempted murder, enslaved friends, and absolute refusal to serve Settlement 119. Her death lifts the word attribute, leaving Yezi and Zhang dizzy but fully themselves again. He explains that anyone capable of controlling them once remained too dangerous to spare. Zhang identifies the victim as Deputy Administrator Huang Jun's mistress, personally sent into the trial. Killing her has offended Settlement 119's three giants, Zhang Mimi, Haley, and Huang Jun. Those three giants effectively control the settlement despite opposing ideologies and deep mutual hostility. Therefore, Huang Jun and Haley planted candidates here, while cautious Jiang protected his extraordinary guest. Yezi suggests inventing an extraordinary identity, because far from home reputation becomes whatever one claims. Even knowing a large awakened force waits ahead, the determined trio chooses to continue. The company remains his only path toward the sister who may still be waiting there. Yezi follows without hesitation, and Jiang reluctantly commits himself to the same dangerous route. Xiaoman requests inclusion, receiving permission to trail them and conceal their presence with scent. Delighted, she promises to carefully follow every instruction and avoid becoming another burden. Yezi teases that pity motivated the decision, despite his friend's supposed devotion to a rich lady. The answer is practical. Her concealment offers Yezi extra protection against dangers ahead. Now accepted, Xiaoman reveals her concealment was also hiding numerous wounded people nearby. She lifts odor concealment, exposing what her gold scent manipulation had completely masked. Dozens of wounded candidates emerge from side caves, apparently driven back by something farther ahead. Their wounded leader explains organized candidates ambushed them with traps and overwhelming numbers. He answers coldly that using every available method is normal during life-or-death competition. Yet the attackers posed as Settlement 119 reinforcements, lowered defenses, then severed the leader's hand. Reliving the betrayal makes his critical injuries flare, sending blood from his mouth. Xiaoman sheltered these defeated candidates, after the controller arrived to finish every survivor. Zhang condemns both rival factions, believing Zhang alone prevents Settlement 119 from collapsing into chaos. Helping means escorting everyone outside, but abandoning them guarantees death and preserves precious boss fighting time. Xiaoman anxiously wonders whether their terrifyingly rational leader will choose the crueler option. Even the wounded commander expects abandonment, regretting the factional struggle that destroyed his easy qualification. Instead, the decision comes quickly. Zhang and Xiaoman receive a new important responsibility. They must escort the injured outside for treatment, because neither needs to face greater danger. Relief spreads immediately, while Xiaoman realizes genuine compassion survives beneath his ruthless practicality. Watching the rescue, survivors compare him to Zhang and imagine another humane administrator emerging someday. Before leaving, the handless leader offers something found after killing a steel claw rat. Introducing himself as Chu Feng, he promises repayment and reveals a folded map from his pocket. The mysterious paper draws a long, silent stare because its markings mean nothing to him. Unable to read it, he passes the sketch to Yezi for expert interpretation. Yezi recognizes the dungeon's hidden treasury location, perfectly complementing their newly acquired drill key. A bold split follows. Yezi will hunt the treasure while his partner challenges the boss. That proposal sounds suicidal, since vicious awakened fighters and unknown monsters guard the deeper route. Treasure from the vault could strengthen Yezi, so his partner promises caution instead of reckless sacrifice. Recognizing his limits without Zhang, Yezi accepts treasure hunting as his best chance to contribute. He follows the map toward the vault, confidently promising a triumphant return with new power. The boss route lies eerily silent, stripped of monsters and survivors by the faction ahead. That devastation at least suggests the separate treasury path should be considerably safer. Fresh combat finally echoes through the tunnel, announcing his arrival at the boss arena. Inside waits the level 12 twin-blade Mad Rat, already reduced to 15% health. Multiple candidates surround the wounded boss, pressing their coordinated assault from every direction. Sensing victory, the fighters rally everyone for one final combined finishing strike against it. But killing it now would free every enemy, so he decides to exploit the chaos. Since these killers murder for profit, eliminating the weakest first feels like heaven's work. Three distracted fighters fantasize about company status, higher rank, and ugly rewards after qualifying. A sudden blue arc sweeps past, dropping two distracted killers before either can react. Cold green eyes promise the remaining brute that he will never leave this dungeon. The intrusion alarms a green-haired leader, who sends the Ma brothers after the lone wolf. Level 11 Liu Baiyu activates Brave, gaining 30% strength for 15 minutes at once. Level 11 Ma Zhuang and Ma Fei answer with boosted arrow damage and firing speed. Their opening volley erupts together, yet the empowered target blasts straight through it. Unimpressed, he challenges both brothers next, prepared to dismantle their ranged teamwork up close. Realizing this lone wolf is exceptional, the archers agree to stop holding back. Ma Zhuang unleashes Gold Explosive Shot, adding 50% damage and violent detonations to his arrows. Ma Fei answers with Gold Ice Shot, gaining 55% damage plus freezing slowdown. Knowing ranged fighters crumble up close, their target charges through converging fire and ice. Explosions and frozen shards tear across the cavern, but still cannot halt his advance. Liu warns old Zhang about the intruder, yet both decide killing the boss matters more. Accepting their allies as expendable, the two melee fighters keep carving into the monster. Its remaining health keeps falling, while they calmly postpone human slaughter until afterward. With escape disappearing beneath their own barrage, the Ma brothers prepare one desperate last stand. Standing together, they draw their infamous, most vicious paired arrow with everything remaining. Instead of retreating, the silver-haired challenger dives headfirst directly between both incoming projectiles. He welcomes their ultimate technique as the perfect test of his body's current limits. Explosive fire and freezing energy collide around him, swallowing the passage in a massive blast. Seeing no dodge, the brothers call him insane and assume their gamble succeeded. Relief follows because an evasive maneuver could have redirected their deadly convergence against them. Then Ma Fei's head falls, leaving Ma Zhuang screaming for his younger brother. The effortless counter proves transcendent technology has surpassed even its wielder's wildest expectations. Enraged, the surviving archer fires again, demanding his enemy join Ma Fei in death. A blue-edged slash crashes through his desperate shot and reaches the attacker instantly. Judgment comes without sympathy. Slaughtering innocent others meant accepting the same terrible fate eventually. Even passively, transcendent technology's physical enhancement can withstand repeated attacks without active skills. Wondering what breakthrough limits could achieve, he notes both radiant attributes vastly exceed ordinary powers. Still, the masked swordsman from 3 years earlier remains stronger, proving real monsters lie ahead. Finding his sister demands far more growth, beginning with this boss in a company position. Meanwhile, Liu Baiyu and Old Zhang launch their supposed final strike against the weakened rat. At 10% health, the monster suddenly halts their blades and changes its entire posture. Rather than begging, the wounded rat covers its face and begins calling through bloody tears. A colossal hand erupts from below, smashing through stone between the stunned melee fighters. The summoned protector emerges. A level 13 giant axe king rat, also ranked as boss. 2 bosses in one white dungeon leave both veterans terrified, especially with the newcomer stronger. Its gigantic axe crashes down immediately, forcing Liu and Old Zhang into desperate evasions. Both escape by inches, astonishing the articulate king rat, which expected immediate casualties. Observing safely, Zhao realizes some dungeon monsters possess human speech and could massacre this faction. He decides the safest solution is eliminating one boss before facing their combined pressure. The shaken pair reach the same conclusion, finally recognizing their enemy can speak. Liu praises Old Zhang's judgment, and together they rush the massive newcomer head-on. The king rat declares that anyone seeking her life must first kill him. Their frustration explodes. After grinding the smaller boss for ages, now everything resets. While both veterans commit to the king, their rival circles toward the kneeling female rat. He raises his curved blade, calmly claiming the wounded twin blade boss's head. Liu protests the stolen victory, but Old Zhang says this will provoke the true king. Enraged by the threat against his companion, the king turns and promises a brutal punishment. Zhao deliberately faces the level 13 boss's strike, testing whether his enhanced body can endure. The descending axe detonates against the cavern floor, blasting apart an enormous section of stone. Surviving the impact, he confirms base attributes and level growth differ dramatically between individuals. The veterans estimate this king's raw strength exceeds the twin blade rats by at least double. Furious pursuit follows, with the giant monster swinging its axe relentlessly at the apparent thief. Its strength is terrifying, but speed merely average, allowing focused evasions through every crushing strike. He predicts the isolated veterans must cooperate, then betray him immediately after securing victory. Exactly so, they offer a temporary alliance and conveniently forgive their slaughtered companions. In this apocalypse, even heavy bloodshed remains negotiable when mutual survival demands cooperation. Accepting the obvious trap, he agrees that all three should eliminate the king first. Privately, the veterans plan to decapitate their ally once the boss reaches 10% health. Shouting false support, both melee fighters charge back into battle alongside their intended victim. Their coordinated assault rapidly carves the raging king from 88 to 82% displayed health. At 76%, it activates bronze polishing for 15% damage and speed increases. Newly accelerated, the monster pounds the arena with twin axes and an overwhelming shockwave. The violent counter scatters all three attackers, leaving each bloodied and struggling for balance. Regrouping fast, their relentless counteroffensive tears the king's health down to 48%. Preparing the next phase, the calm swordsman ignites his curved blade with flame enchantment. Old Zhang activates gold valor, while Liu stacks bronze giant strength despite its speed penalty. Cornered again, the boss unveils Gold King Rat's Bearing, a special power reserved for royalty. Health surges from 48 to 98% as strength and body size rise sharply. Realizing the boss recovered through an exclusive second attribute, all three commit their full power. Liu summons 10 gold shadow guards, each carrying 30% of his strength. Old Zhang answers with bronze burning blade wind, launching scorching arcs from his weapon. Clones, blazing steel, and direct charges converge together, overwhelming the newly enlarged king. Misjudging their ally as below level 10, the veterans assume he possesses no second attribute. Their betrayal plan simply changes: wait until prolonged combat exhausts him, then strike. The furious barrage drives the restored monster from 98% to just 13. With everyone breathing hard, the nearly finished king appears ready for one final exchange. Their temporary ally launches first, demanding they finish the boss in one coordinated rush. Right on schedule, old Zhang redirects his burning blade toward the silver-haired fighter instead. Zhao recognizes the decisive moment instantly, turning against the attack as shadow guards close. The veterans reveal their contempt, mocking a sub-level 10 candidate for expecting genuine partnership. They cite slaughtered comrades and the stolen twin-blade kill, while their target counters calmly. He never trusted them either, and his remaining strength shocks the Shadow Guard user. Behind the treacherous humans, the wounded king rises and openly laughs at their betrayal. Trapped between three deadly enemies, Zhao activates breakthrough limits, embracing superior ruthlessness at last. Elsewhere, Yezi follows the map through a narrow tunnel, with treasure apparently just ahead. Without Driver Bro, he desperately hopes no monster blocks either advance or retreat. Approaching the chamber, Yezi suddenly catches a strong scent of blood and freezes in dread. Terrified, he invokes 4 ancestral families, every god and every Buddha, for protection. The treasury chamber contains a purple chest surrounded by bodies, severed limbs, weapons, and skulls. Finding no moving threat, the relieved scavenger dismisses his fear as a false alarm. He concludes rival map holders reached the chest first, only to meet its guardian. Thanking 3 dead pathfinders for their sacrifice, he approaches the prize with ceremonial respect. The fierce drat drill seems absurdly small beside the chest's oversized skull-shaped lock. For one nervous moment, brute force appears to be his only possible solution. Then entering the treasure zone automatically generates a perfectly fitted golden key for him. The chest opens, raising excited questions about what treasure this supposedly gray-level dungeon contains. Inside lies a green-level silverstone crossbow and matching black feather arrows with bonus damage. Delighted, Yezi abandons his slingshot era and promises Chengzi a triumphant armed return. Right then, the supposedly dead chest guardian lunges from behind with claws extended. He whirls, activates Butcher's precision, locks onto its weak point, and fires instantly. The crossbow combines 500 fixed damage, strength scaling, and a 200% weak point critical. The bolt punches cleanly through the steel claw rat's chest, leaving it squeaking in disbelief. A heartbeat later, the guardian collapses behind him, completely defeated by that single shot. Stunned delight replaces fear as the new marksman celebrates his first one-shot kill. The weapon's power explains Chengzi's improvement, while the solo victory raises Yezi to level 6. Realizing past teamwork shared considerable experience, he races back to help his friend. Crossbow secured, Yezi sprints through the tunnels, promising to reach Chengzi with timely support. Violent tremors shake the passage like earthquakes, convincing him the boss fight has turned dangerous. Fear for his friend crushes hesitation, driving him to accelerate toward the distant arena. Charging through the final tunnel, he loudly promises rescue before even seeing the battlefield. One look inside stops that heroic entrance cold, leaving him speechless at the scene. Instead of needing rescue, the lightning-wreathed fighter stands over both defeated betrayers and greets Yezi calmly. Even accustomed to absurd strength, Yezi realizes this battle left him absolutely nothing to demonstrate. Yet the bloodied king rat still coughs and stirs, refusing to remain down. Gripping its massive axe again, the wounded boss forces its towering body upright. With one last furious charge, it bears down on the empowered survivor amid fallen enemies. Yezi shouts a desperate warning as the colossal execution strike closes from behind. His friend barely reacts, green eyes perfectly steady beneath the crackling blue aura. A single blazing counter flashes through the king rat before its axe can land. Victory is confirmed, and far ahead boosts the level 13 reward from level 8 to 10. 2 level-ups trigger Eternal Evolution Codex again, producing another selection containing a Radiant option. Bronze polishing, sharpness, and dual-wielding mastery appear beside gold ice and explosive shot. Radiant wind manipulation joins the pool, offering the unfamiliar void-splitting dark wind technique. Then breakthrough limits expires at 0 MP, revealing severe exhaustion as its unavoidable price. Seeing him buckle, Yezi immediately rushes forward and reaches for his drained companion. Reassurance follows. No serious injury, only overwhelming fatigue requiring immediate sleep and recovery. Recognizing Chengzi has vulnerable moments too, Yezi resolves to become his protector this time. Steadying the exhausted fighter, he promises peaceful sleep under his own watchful protection. The cave suddenly convulses, announcing that the boss's death has begun collapsing the dungeon. Carrying his friend, Yezi remembers their previous portal survived a while after its dungeon started crumbling. But recovery is incomplete, and Haley or Huang Jun might be waiting outside for revenge. He decides to reach the entrance, then delay departure until the final possible second. That careful plan immediately meets a level 6 steel claw rat bursting into their path. Yezi cannot believe smaller monsters remain active even after both powerful bosses fell. Still carrying his partner, the new crossbowman confidently promises to handle this lone attacker himself. Then several level 6 and level 7 rats swarm forward, rapidly multiplying the supposed solo fight. His brave grin suddenly tightens when the actual count reaches 4 hungry monsters. Outnumbered or not, Lu Ziyi fires while carrying his helpless friend, accepting the challenge alone. With every shot, he renews his promise that this time Chengzi receives protection. Outside, level 27 Deputy Administrator Huang Jun orders armed followers to watch the collapsing portal closely. Anyone emerging side his faction will be killed according to their prepared plan. Level 28 Deputy Administrator Hailey gives his own followers the same murderous command. Meanwhile, Zhang Dahua reports everything to Administrator Zhang from a busy medical station. Zhang rejects his fatal oath, reminding him that his wife and children still need him. Zhang says their young rescuer resembles Zhang's younger self and could possess powerful backing. The Administrator agrees that sending capable allies to escort wounded survivors matches his old style. Bai Rong reports Huang Jun and Haley have surrounded the exit, targeting every unaffiliated survivor. Their merciless orders guarantee immediate execution without questions for anyone outside their respective factions. Jiang scoffs because successful survivors become company people, whose examiners should punish open interference. Bai counters that such bold enemies must already possess preparations against the company's response. Horrified, Zhang realizes their young friends could emerge directly between two murderous forces. Zhang gathers his fighters and promises personal protection if Zhao Cheng's group appears. Relieved, Zhang trusts that public promise more than gold, regardless of whatever danger awaits. Bai quietly asks whether making that commitment means Zhang finally respects the talented outsider. Zhang denies admiration, yet calls the well-connected survivor their best ladder toward a greater future. Protecting him serves everyone's ambitions, though Bai suspects considerably warmer feelings hiding underneath. That teasing earns a sharp threat to stop talking before Zhang rearranges his mouth. Back underground, Zhao finally wakes from exhausted sleep and wonders how much time passed. Fading dungeon lights reveal imminent collapse, making him urgently call for Yezi and escape. Yezi answers weakly, warning that Huang Jun and Haley probably have killers waiting outside. His bloodied body can barely move, despite reaching level 8 with 12% experience. He proudly explains that he carried Zhao while single-handedly defeating all 4 Steel Claw rats. Realizing Yezi absorbed every injury protecting him, the shaken survivor asks whether he can walk. A strained answer claims yes, but his ruined condition makes that promise painfully doubtful. Zhao shoulders him instead, choosing to face whatever waits beyond the portal together. Yezi agrees with a smile, ready to cross any mountain of knives beside his brother. A lone figure enters the glowing portal, instantly drawing every waiting faction's attention. Armed crowds press closer, each group hoping the approaching survivor belongs among their own. From a rooftop, the hooded company examiner watches the trial's apparent true winner emerge. Her butler dismisses this low-level test and warns failure would simply mean disappointed expectations. She insists her chosen person will appear, rejecting any supposed difference between nobles and commoners. Zhao steps through the light carrying Yezi, bringing both exhausted brothers outside alive. Blood and healing energy cover them, yet his forward stare remains completely unbroken. The examiner recognizes both friends and marvels that Chengzi is carrying fragile Yezi. Neither hostile faction recognizes them, immediately provoking furious demands for their missing brothers. Huang Jun coldly asks whether these two were the dungeon's only surviving candidates. Hailey roars for his absent fighters, accusing the newcomers of hiding them somewhere. Zhao calmly declares every missing fighter dead by his hand, including several encountered earlier. Enraged followers demand their heads as sacrifices and promise nobody leaves here alive. Both deputies order them torn apart because the precious company positions escape their factions. As crowds charge, Zhao senses everyone except Huang Jun and Healy is weaker than dungeon entrants. He draws his blade, realizing both factions sent their strongest available fighters inside. Flame enchantment ignites while he welcomes these attackers as whetstones for 2 new attributes. Bronze sharpness grants 15% armor piercing, while radiant wind manipulation summons strengthening gales. His level 9 choice was practical sharpness, followed by wind manipulation at level 10. Now those fresh powers enter live testing as he activates wind manipulation's Call Wind. Call Wind whips sand and rubble into a violent tornado, blinding the charging attackers. Flame enchantment catches the gale, transforming that sandstorm into a rapidly rotating inferno. Scattered followers burn and panic as the firestorm completely destroys their coordinated assault. Huang Jun acknowledges the newcomer's skill, finally understanding how his missing fighters died. Haley finds the combination sinister, unable to determine whether wind or fire defines it. Zhao refuses to clarify either ability, dismissing their intrusive curiosity with completely cool contempt. Both deputies still underestimate him as merely level 10, calling further conversation wasteful. Yezi requests release for the coming duel, but Zhao admits that would change nothing. His earlier arrogance was deliberate, forcing another powerful figure to publicly choose a side. Confused but intrigued, Yezi demands to know exactly who should make that stand. The anxious examiner considers intervention, yet her butler calmly says that remains unnecessary. Someone capable of stopping both deputy administrators has already quietly reached the battlefield. Huang Jun and Haley charge personally, with one demanding revenge for his slain woman. Zhao refuses Yezi's plea to flee because the expected protector has finally arrived. Zhang's massive gold Tiger King's roar erupts overhead, violently freezing the entire confrontation. Yezi realizes their rescued survivors delivered news early enough for Zhang to intervene. Administrator Zhang publicly declares Zhou a protected company member whom nobody may touch. Then a messenger reports numerous settlements for 173 Awaken awakened fighters attacking settlement number 119's gates. Zhang sends everyone except Bai Rong to reinforce the gates while he resolves matters here. He wonders what reward made settlement number 173 reckless enough to provoke his retaliation. The traitors promised settlement number 173 3 days of unrestricted plunder after Zhang's defeat. Realizing they sold the settlement, Zhang decides neither deputy can remain any longer. They complain rebellion changed nothing, while his refusal of expansion denied them resources and influence. Zhao anticipates a complete leadership reshuffle, yet still considers Zhang best for ordinary residents. Yezi whispers that so many hidden traitors make the administrator's position incredibly difficult. Zhang Daha reaches his wounded brothers and urgently calls them away from danger. Battles between level 20 fighters would make them cannon fodder, so Driver Bro offers shelter. He rushes them away just as the first explosive clash erupts directly behind them. Zhang's group and the rebel deputies finally collide, releasing tremendous raw elemental force. Lightning, earth, and weapon energy tear through the battlefield during their opening exchanges. Zhang identifies Bai Rong's gold lightning attachment and Huang Jun's natural earth flow control. Watching another unnatural color appear, Zhao asks what powers Zhang's mysterious green flames. Zhang surges directly forward inside that massive emerald inferno, pressuring the hammer-wielding Hai Li. The impossible green blaze belongs to an exceptionally rare, legendary Radiant class word attribute. Zhang names it Hellish Netherworld Flames, though nobody nearby understands its full abilities. Yezi recalls Radiant attributes appear once among 10,000 and supposedly reshape the world. Zhao questions that enormous legend, prompting his bookish friend to cite ancient records. Those texts claim the first accidental word attribute Awakening ended humanity's most advanced era. Its origin remains unknown, apparently manifesting spontaneously inside one ancient human without explanation. Whatever that primordial power was, the records blame it for destroying human civilization. Yezi dreams that comparable power could rescue Zhao's sister and rebuild ancient civilization. Zhao notes his own radiant gift feels less mysterious, proving major differences within each class. Eternal evolution might eventually grant terrifying power, but controlling something world-ending could consume its wielder. Hailey refuses to fear Zhang's radiant advantage and declares his own attribute equally formidable. Activating the oddly named Gold-Bronze Giant attribute transforms him into a hulking powerhouse. This second ability shocks the observers, demonstrating enormous strength differences even among gold attributes. The giant charges with murderous confidence, treating Zhang as the final obstacle against expansion. Zhang meets that descending fist with a calm smile, showing absolutely no concern. Hellish netherworld flames surge upward, engulfing the enlarged attacker and arresting his charge. Zhang calls him unworthy of replacement, while Hailey promises mutual destruction before burning. Trapped inside green fire, the transformed traitor strains desperately against its consuming pressure. Yezi fears a direct clash remains uncertain and wonders why Zhang refuses to dodge. Zhao realizes the administrator is distracted because he is simultaneously helping someone elsewhere. Huang's earth flow binds Bai Rong, while Zhang's flames prevent the swordsman approaching closer. Raising enormous stone formations, Huang boasts that every higher level creates a wider power gap. Confident in that advantage, he tells Bai to remember the difference between them. Crushing earth spikes converge on the restrained deputy as Zhang urgently orders resistance. Green netherworld flames race through the earthen prison, attempting to shield their trapped ally. Huang insists no fire can contain earth and continues tightening his overwhelming assault. Facing possible defeat, Bai declares he never regretted following Zhang during this life. Another enormous eruption tears across the battlefield, swallowing shattered earth beneath blazing energy. Assuming Bai is finished, Huang calls Hailey and offers to help kill Zhang together. Zhao suddenly returns wreathed in blue energy, declaring he has come to help the trapped deputy. Bai marvels that his rescuer gained such power after being below level 10 yesterday. He warns this state is brief and demands they kill Huang now. Bai agrees without probing. Hearing an approaching rush of wind, Huang realizes someone else is charging into the battle. The rescued Bai and his ally launch a synchronized attack, catching the Earth controller between blades and power. Finding Bai alive stuns Huang, who realizes the young outsider must have broken him free. Their relentless two-sided assault keeps Huang airborne, denying the level 27 traitor any stable footing. Bai's lightning-loaded slash drives through Huang's defense as the newcomer's win-back pressure leaves no escape. Bloodied yet furious, Huang swears he will take both their lives for wounding him. Watching from safety, Yezi begs to help Chengzi, but Zhang refuses to risk everyone. At the gates, exhausted defenders report enemy ancient firearms and vow to endure until reinforcements arrive. Settlement 73 Administrator Tianhua Gong, level 27, promises his raiders total freedom after the breakthrough. Armored vehicles answer his command with a coordinated barrage, pounding Settlement 119's defenses from afar. Back on the rooftop, the hooded examiner asks why her butler still has not intervened. The veteran calmly asks which side she actually expects him to attack now. She declares Zhao and his companions already passed, making them company people under his protection. Then she orders him to expel Settlement 173's invaders, insisting his strength can handle them. The butler asks for patience, explaining that victory alone was never this trial's true purpose. Challenged by the delay, the young examiner bluntly asks why this cruel inaction is necessary. Her butler says company engineered the trial to exploit internal conflict, thinning awakened ranks and stabilizing the continent. She protests selection should gather strong talent and increase company's power, not deliberately destroy it. He counters company already holds overwhelming strength and could grant continent-wide abundance whenever it wished. But ending scarcity would erase Eastern continent's dependence, making company membership lose its coveted value. That cold logic leaves the sheltered heiress stunned, unable to accept how the system truly works. Letting settlements slaughter each other preserves stability, he says, promising age will eventually teach her why. Still resisting, she sees Settlement 119's gates nearing collapse while Zhao's battle remains undecided. Civilians already suffer catastrophe below, and she cannot accept silently watching them die. Revealing herself as Guan family's legitimate daughter and future head, she commands the butler to intervene. He can obey but warns intervention violates high ruler regulations established by 5 great families. She weighs punishment against abandoning more than 1,000 innocent civilians to slaughter. Brahma Company rules countless eastern settlements, yet 5 great families stand above even that empire. Their leaders form Supreme Council, the body deciding every major policy across the East. Rival interests force the council to impose high ruler regulations upon all 5 bloodlines. Article 9 forbids excessive interference with commoners outside family territory, punishing violators with confiscation and house arrest. Losing resources is tolerable, but 30 days barred from dimensional dungeons could cripple her growth. Other heirs would surge ahead, forcing Guan family to spend enormous resources closing the gap. Before she chooses, a messenger announces Settlement 119's gates have finally been breached. Tian Huagong orders his raiders through the opening, demanding they carve their way inside. Raiders flood inside, openly demanding resources, supply tickets, food, and threatening defenseless civilians. Families run through the streets as attackers chase them, panic exploding behind shattered defenses. Tian personally seizes a fleeing woman, declaring Uncle Tian will take care of her. Across the settlement, raiders attack residents and threaten anyone hiding valuable supply tickets. Watching the destruction, the Guan heiress refuses to tolerate smashed homes and terrorized citizens. At last, the examiner reveals herself as Guan Ju, ordering Guan 36 to expel Settlement 73. Her attendant accepts without hesitation or complaint, formally acknowledging the eldest daughter's command. A violet streak crashes through the rooftops as Guan 36 launches toward the invasion. She expects her father may condemn this impulsive choice, trusting he will understand later. Then she races toward Zhao while Guan 36 privately questions her soft-hearted future leadership. Despite those doubts, the attendant declares himself Guan family's death warrior and activates his hidden attribute. Lightning-wreathed coils sweep across the invasion, snatching multiple raiders before they can react. The Death Warrior unleashes merciless punishment upon everyone who angered his young mistress. Meanwhile, Hung's Earthflow blocks every combined strike, leaving both attackers unable to pierce his defense. Zhao recognizes Bai's severe wounds and heavy stamina loss could drag them both into defeat. Bai offers escape while activating Bronze Sword Mastery, raising sword speed and attack by 15%. Huang mocks that bronze talent and activates Gold Extreme Speed, gaining 30% speed for 15 minutes. Newly accelerated, Huang tears through Bai's defense, exploiting the enormous level gap with brutal precision. Knowing continued combat cannot win, Zhao spots one desperate opening inside Huang's aggressive state. But with Bai pinned and battered, he still cannot see how their disadvantage becomes victory. Cornered amid shattered stone, he suddenly hears familiar allies rushing back into danger. Yezi activates weak point detection, marking the left side of Huang's Earthflow for his best friend. Without hesitation, he trusts that call and charges straight toward the exposed left flank. Carrying Yezi, Zhang marvels at the absolute trust connecting these two sworn brothers. Forcing weak point detection while wounded empties Yezi's remaining strength, leaving him completely drained. He stacks Headshot Strike, Flame Enchantment, Sharpness, and Breakthrough limits into one decisive blow. As Huang targets exhausted Bai, the blazing counterattack rockets straight toward Earthflow's vulnerable side. Both commit everything to their final attacks, each believing victory hangs on this collision. The flaming armor-piercing strike smashes through Huang's weak flank and sends him flying. Humiliated by defeat against a level 10 outsider, the bloodied traitor's rage turns murderous. Refusing to lose alone, Huang launches a suicidal charge and demands they die together. The reply is a fearless refusal, meeting that last desperate lunge directly head-on. Refresh once restores every cooldown, but repeating the full stack completely drains his barely recovered body. With the danger finally broken, he collapses among the rubble, barely remaining conscious. Bai catches him, thanking the young fighter for saving his life in return. Guanju arrives stunned that the level 7 boy she knew defeated a 20-something Awakened fighter. She wonders what extraordinary talent could possibly create such explosive growth in so little time. Injured Bai apologizes that he cannot bow properly, but the examiner dismisses formalities. He identifies Zhao as Settlement 226's rescued candidate and the company examination's clear winner. Bai worries an elite examiner has little patience for bottom-tier newcomers, having seen countless prodigies. Guanju takes charge and sends Bai to assist Zhang's rapidly ending battle. Greeting Chengzi warmly, she leaves the deputy bewildered by their obvious unexpected familiarity. Then the high-status examiner personally carries him away, shocking anyone familiar with company hierarchy. Bai can only stare, unable to understand why an elite would bear a newcomer herself. Suspecting hidden power behind the boy, he realizes Zhang's earlier investment may prove brilliantly judged. Elsewhere, Zhang declares interference finished and prepares to claim Haley's head at last. The bronze giant launches one final golden charge, refusing to admit certain defeat. Zhang instantly silences his boast with a massive wave of green netherworld flames. The infernal torrent consumes the traitor completely, leaving only a scorched skeleton behind. Standing untouched amid drifting fire, the administrator calmly smokes over his fallen rival. Bai arrives and credits him with helping Zhao kill Huang before suggesting gate defense. The deputy explains another powerhouse already handles invaders, then urgently raises a stranger subject. Asked what happened, he prepares to reveal the examiner's extraordinary treatment of Zhao. Bai confirms the examiner carried the unconscious winner away upon her own back. Zhang concludes no ordinary patron would value him so deeply. The mysterious identity exceeds every assumption. Bai wildly guesses their young ally could be some major figure's illegitimate son. The thoughtful administrator accepts that outlandish theory as surprisingly likely based on evidence before him. If Zhao can climb beyond Zhang's reach, securing influence now could unlock impossible achievements later. After the battles, daylight returns across Settlement 119's surviving residential district and quiet streets. Completely spent, he finally sleeps beneath clean blankets inside a comfortable house in safety. After 3 unconscious days, he jolts awake in an unfamiliar bed, muscles bandaged and alert. Yezi appears with mutated cassava porridge from home. Delighted, Chengzi finally opened his eyes. Still disoriented, he asks where this comfortable room is located and what happened. They remain in Settlement 119's examiner residence. He slept 3 days while Yezi visited daily. He identifies the collapse as backlash from repeatedly forcing transcendent technology while Yezi celebrates real brown sugar. Before recovery questions continue, a familiar woman's voice enters from the doorway and announces he is awake. Guanju arrives elegantly dressed, admitting she feared he would not awaken before departure. Her sudden appearance leaves him visibly startled, flustered, and unsure why she stayed. Yezi catches that rare blush and silently wonders whether exhaustion is making him hallucinate. She explains company sent her as examiner and says his recovery finally lets her relax. Surprised, he asks whether she truly waited nearby through all 3 unconscious days. She confirms, citing unfinished examiner duties while Yezi finds the official explanation disappointingly boring. Then she presents new identity cards officially certifying both friends as Brahma members. 3 expensive cards confuse the recipients since only 2 friends stand before her. Guanju explains the trial allowed 3 winners maximum, yet only these 2 qualified. Instead of destroying the unused card, she offers it as a personal favor. He accepts carefully and promises to repay that favor fully sometime in the future. Watching their exchanged looks, Yezi imagines showing equal affection with Xiao Yu someday. Guan 36 interrupts by warning his mistress their remaining time is disappearing fast now. The reminder instantly subers both friends, while Guanju prepares to explain departure. Before departing, Guanju pauses beside the bed and announces one final gift. Unlike the Brahma cards, this small purple stone comes entirely from her personally. Calling it a lucky charm, she places it in his palm for future work. Guanju offers a simple goodbye, then leaves with Guan 36 waiting beside her. Watching her disappear, he feels strange reluctance, faintly echoing his sister's departure but less painfully. Yezi instantly catches him staring and mercilessly teases that regret arrived after silence. Ignoring the bait, he hands over Yezi's Brahma certification and keeps the remaining cards. His friend reveals Guan personally carried him back, mocking the missed chance for kindness. Realizing she witnessed everything and stayed afterward, he cannot suppress a quiet smile. Zhang arrives with Bai, Zhang, Hua, and others, asking whether the examiner already visited. From the bed, he confirms their private meeting already happened just moments earlier. Hua and Zhang burst into relief, revealing Yezi stayed awake beside him throughout recovery. That confession immediately turns his attention toward the suddenly suspiciously quiet best friend. Yezi has already fallen asleep clutching his new card, hiding 3 sleepless nights behind jokes. Zhang steps forward and extends a hand, leaving the recovering fighter briefly confused. He thanks him for saving Bai and apologizes for his earlier cold hospitality. The answer forgives everything, praising Zhang's rare concern for ordinary people and claiming personal choice. Such simple sincerity catches the seasoned administrator completely off guard and briefly leaves him speechless. Delighted, Zhang calls the young man interesting and orders Bai to bring their prepared item. Bai presents Settlement 119's gratitude inside a sealed box, requesting Chengzi accept the gift. Surprised by the grand wording, Chengzi asks whether this gift truly represents every resident. Zhang explains Guan 36 only intervened because Zhao now carries exceptional company status. Without that intervention, Settlement 173's raiders would have ruined everyone, making this reward fully deserved. Though the full logic escapes him, the practical survivor happily accepts any available benefits. Before the meeting ends, Zhang mentions Hua has prepared a personal request of her own. The nervous young woman steps forward, instantly catching the bedridden recruit completely off guard. Blushing furiously, she at last struggles through a hesitant address to Brother Chengzi. Then determination erupts. Hua begs to follow him forever, promising she will never regret it. She insists everyone will miss them and asks only for whatever spare support they can offer. Jiang clarifies the offer is serious. Hua genuinely wants to follow him voluntarily. He questions that choice, reminding her about Settlement 347 and warning his path offers no benefits. She reveals Jiang approved relocating her entire community here, guaranteeing them a safer, steadier life. Unable to lead everyone herself, Hua trusts his strength and courage can leave a world-changing mark. She promises never to become dead weight, insisting her unusual first attribute will prove useful. Yezi suddenly breaks the solemn mood by laughing so hard he cannot restrain himself. His outburst infuriates Hua, who demands to know what exactly sounds so ridiculous. Still grinning, Yezi supports her completely, predicting their group will achieve greatness under Chengzi. Taking sudden initiative, the best friend requests Zhao's remaining spare certification for one moment. He hands that card to Hua, welcomes her aboard, and demands unwavering loyalty whenever Chengzi advances. Hua accepts without hesitation, then discovers the certification already bears her portrait and external affairs title. Yezi reveals his own card was blank until moments ago, proving Hua's wasn't specially prepared. Zhang explains these premium certifications automatically recognize confirmed personnel and bind themselves to their owners. Their company carriage has arrived outside, signaling recovery time and farewells are officially over. 3 armored mutated horses pull the standard newcomer transport, impressive despite receiving no special treatment. The newly expanded trio heads outside and approaches their waiting company escort together. Their gray-haired driver invites everyone aboard, promising to explain company entry procedures during journey. Yezi celebrates freedom to roam the vast world, while Hua wonders what nonsense he means. Before departure, Jiang stops Zhao Cheng and offers one final piece of hard-earned advice. Company is no paradise, he warns. Changing cruel reality means protecting ordinary people from loss. If existing systems fail that goal, Jiang urges him to forge better rules through strength. Inside the carriage, Yezi notices his friend has remained unusually quiet since they boarded. He dismisses it as spacing out while privately weighing company mysteries, Strength and his sister. Their quiet driver notices the brooding recruit and invites any question troubling him. He names Settlement 725 as their destination, home of Company External Affairs Squad 0063. All 3 are ordinary squad members, matching driver Luo Pingxi, commonly nicknamed Honest. Finding that nickname questionable, the curious newcomer bluntly asks whether co-workers bully him. Honest denies it, explaining his low-class origins and predicting talented newcomers will soon advance. That answer reveals squad contributions can earn promotion and release from this basic assignment. Honest confirms, adding nobles can escape the squad even without proving themselves through contributions. Seeing a path toward his sister, he wonders what contribution Settlement 725 will demand. He directly asks which work can earn enough company contributions for a quick promotion. Honest offers truth or lies. Zhao chooses truth, wondering why they should differ. Only 2 fast paths exist: suppress rebellious workers or help administrators double blue crystal production. The answer exposes Settlement 725 as company's crystal source, where exploitation constantly provokes lower-class rebellion. Imagining crushed miners beneath elite control, he asks what blue crystals actually are. He also questions why upper-class rulers need this mysterious resource badly enough to maintain oppression. Honest privately assumes a celebrated genius could never understand the lower class's suffering. Instead of answering, the driver buries his resentment and urges the mutated horses onward. Hua detects that resentment, confirming their new destination is another deeply troubled settlement. Soon the fortified towers and crowded streets of prosperous settlement 725 rise directly ahead. Residents welcome Lord Luo and excitedly announce that he brought fresh blood into company. Yet wealth hides misery. Civilians wear worse clothing than Settlement 119's people and rarely smile. Noticing something alarming beyond the carriage, the silent newcomer asks everyone to look. A long procession of exhausted laborers struggles through the street carrying enormous sacks. Yezi questions their burden, while Hua's aura perception confirms every exhausted carrier is awakened. Considering awakened stamina, they realize those sacks must be brutally heavy despite the workers' strength. Yezi suspects blue crystals fill them and condemns the familiar settlement machinery of exploitation. However, no visible overseer carries a whip, making direct physical coercion seem absent. That contradiction makes both companions wonder whether the awakened laborers somehow volunteered for this misery. He understands the invisible whip. Overwhelming rulers leave the lower classes no meaningful choice. Honest finally stops at Squad 0063 headquarters and orders everyone out to meet their leader, a monumental company building crowned by a radiant lotus projection towers above the newcomers. Even battle-hardened travelers pause, stunned by the headquarters' immense staircase and extravagant scale. Their escort cuts sightseeing short and leads them onward, eager to complete his assignment. Yezi notices their detour around the grand facade and asks why they avoid the main entrance. A flamboyant magenta-haired man answers that only important people qualify, insulting them as bottom-class bumpkins. Honest recognizes this troublesome young master immediately and quietly fears their arrival just became complicated. Yezi recognizes a classic story nuisance and prepares to unleash his most shameless mischief. Chengzi spots that dangerous grin and knows his best friend's troublemaking instincts have awakened. Feigning innocence, Yezi calls the stranger rooster brother and asks whether he must be important. The magenta-haired bully instantly bristles, demanding who exactly the newcomer dared call a rooster. Yezi doubles down, comparing that enormous crest to either a rooster or egg-laying hen. Enraged, the stranger grabs his clothing and orders him to repeat the insult. Yezi retreats verbally, then asks why this important man also used the supposedly inferior side entrance. Seeing his trap land, the troublemaker notes that Rooster Brother clearly came through here too. One final jab labels the furious stranger another nobody from the countryside, shattering his restraint. The insulted man attacks Yezi, trying to settle their argument with a sudden heavy punch. Before impact, Chengzi intercepts the strike with crushing force and shields his reckless friend. Feeling that unexpected power, the attacker freezes as a calm warning forbids fighting here. Another cold warning promises lifelong regret if the arrogant newcomer ignores this final chance. The young master finally backs down but swears their unfinished grudge will return later. Honest quickly gathers the newcomers, reminding everyone their squad leader still awaits inside. Left behind, the furious bully promises those little brats will eventually repay every humiliation. His sword-carrying attendant even offers to remove them permanently, revealing truly dangerous backing. Inside headquarters, Honest formally reports the 3 new members before completing their introduction. Instead, the commander orders them straight toward the blue crystal mining dungeon to suppress another riot. Honest obeys immediately and clears the way, despite obvious fear surrounding this urgent assignment. A towering, bearded captain dominates the hall, powerful yet noticeably weaker than Zhang Mimi. Honest identifies Captain Zhang Zhenshan, level 27 and second only to Settlement 725's administrator. Since level 27 falls below Zhang Mimi, Chengzi asks what terrifying level the administrator reached. Honest reveals the ruler is now a level 30 powerhouse, startling all 3 newcomers. Level 30 shocks the trio, but Chengzi focuses on Honest's visible nervousness instead. Honest warns that nobody dares discuss Settlement 725's administrator privately at all. One careless statement can create leverage, and company employee status offers absolutely no protection. The warning paints this ruler as another ruthless tyrant frighteningly similar to Fan Dahu. Honest redirects them towards standard company uniforms before sending anyone into the field. Fresh purple uniforms finally make the rough travelers look presentable, delighting Hua especially. Then Honest rushes everyone onward, fearing punishment if the captain discovers their delay. Yezi distrusts riot suppression, Hua follows Chengzi, and he chooses investigation before judgment. The uniformed trio rushes downstairs as sudden angry commotion erupts somewhere along their route. Yezi halts mid-stride when disturbing cries echo upward and demands to know their source. Chengzi identifies unmistakably human screams, while Hua realizes they are rising from underground. Elsewhere, the furious, magenta-haired young master turns his anger toward his own attendant. He berates the man's reckless violence, arguing nobody can witness authority if every opponent disappears. The confused swordsman attempts an explanation, only making his impatient master even angrier. No excuses are accepted. The youth wants fame, company authority, and strategic intimidation instead. He finally introduces himself as Sima Yan, determined to bring honor upon the powerful Sima family. His battered attendant praises honor-bringing young master before nervously correcting the title to young master Yan. Moving onward, Honest admits he never expected the newcomers would challenge someone from Sima's family. Yezi naturally asks whether that colorful nuisance carries a truly terrible reputation locally. Honest confirms Sima Yan offends people constantly, yet nobody crosses Settlement 723's administrator's son. Hua questions why company would specially recruit someone whose privileged behavior causes endless trouble. Because 17-year-old Sima already reached level 11, Honest classifies him as a genuine genius. Yezi and Hua privately classify themselves as young geniuses too, proudly comparing their current levels. Then both remember Chengzi's impossible growth and realize their leader stands beyond ordinary genius. They enthusiastically crown him a genius among geniuses, earning only his thoroughly unimpressed stare. Captain Zhang suddenly storms down the corridor, ordering everyone aside without slowing his stride. Yezi silently labels the intimidating older captain rude as the newcomers quickly clear his path. Honest bows respectfully, but his superior dismisses the entire group with a harsh command. Honest warns a serious criminal is imprisoned below, forbids involvement, and refocuses everyone on the riot. While leaving headquarters, Chengzi suspects Honest is hiding something important about that underground prisoner. Their destination is Blue River Ice Forest, a green-level dungeon surrounded by workers and guards. Exhausted miners refuse another entry, warning the dungeon's monsters keep strengthening and everyone will perish. After laboring more than 10 consecutive days, they demand the simple right to rest. A brutal company officer grabs one protesting woman, ordering continued work under threat of death. Unable to resist, she bids Brother Hao farewell while he desperately reaches toward her. The officer raises his weapon to enforce obedience, escalating exploitation into open violence. Before the blow lands, a sudden precise intervention knocks his attacking hand aside. Yezi steps forward with the others, angrily demanding why company personnel attack exhausted workers. The aggressor is Jia Ping, Squad 0063's deputy leader, who brands resistance rebellion against company. Honest nervously explains the newcomers arrived under Captain Zhang's orders to help suppress this riot. Jia twists those words into mockery, looming over the escort for calling this resistance a riot. Then he strikes Honest aside, demanding whether these meddling outsiders are truly his newcomers. Hua angrily challenges Jia's imagined right to assault people simply because he holds authority. Another squad member insults her and asks the deputy leader for permission to teach obedience. Jia authorizes force, ordering his subordinate to show the newcomer who commands this territory. The eager enforcer activates gold word attribute Valor and charges with dark purple energy. Chengzi stops Yezi from intervening, trusting Xiaoman can easily handle this challenge herself. Refusing intimidation, she activates gold scent control and releases a deliberately chosen odor. The overwhelming smell instantly disrupts her charging opponent, who finally recognizes her unusual attribute. The unbearable odor sends Jia's enforcer flying helplessly before Hua drives him back toward the ground. She follows immediately with a crushing downward kick, smashing the reeling officer into broken earth. Standing over her defeated senior, Xiaoman proudly declares she is no fragile woman anyone can bully. Yezi marvels at her strength, remembering she protected wounded survivors while fighting two level 10 opponents. Seeing his subordinate humiliated, Jia furiously condemns the newcomers for daring to strike their seniors. Instead of attacking Hua, the deputy leader brutally punishes his own failed enforcer for embarrassing him. Honest kneels and begs forgiveness, accepting blame while Xiaoman realizes how vicious this hierarchy truly is. Rejecting that plea, Jia activates Bronze Headshot Strike and prepares a deliberately crippling blow. His empowered fist detonates against the ground with enough force to shatter the entire clearing. Yet Chengzi catches the attack at its center, stopping Jia's supposedly unavoidable strike barehanded. Honest stares in disbelief, recognizing Zhao Cheng chose to shield him despite every warning. He takes full responsibility for confronting the officers, inviting their furious superior to target him instead. Jia accepts the challenge, deciding this arrogant newcomer must become an example for future discipline. The level 17 deputy transforms through Bronze Giant Lizard power, gaining tremendous strength, stamina, and speed. Before engaging the monster, Chengzi orders Honest and his companions away from consequences he willingly accepts. Reduced rationality only feeds Jia's killing urge, and he promises to justify murder with paperwork afterward. Facing the transformed predator alone, the newcomer remains composed, ready to measure his growing power. Watching the lizard charge, he judges it painfully slow and only slightly stronger than before. He effortlessly evades the crushing pursuit while Jia destroys everything nearby and mocks his responsibility. Terrified workers reveal transformed Jia approaches level 19 physically, making resistance seem completely impossible. Xiaoman starts gathering her scent power again, determined to support the battle if necessary. Yezi stops her, explaining Chengzi will ask for assistance himself whenever he actually needs it. Confident in his partner's limits, he grins that this dangerous duel is merely playful exercise. Honest still warns their defiance invites disaster, insisting quiet endurance would have kept Jia from killing. His resignation frustrates Xiaoman, who knows cowardice invites lifelong bullying while bold resistance attracts ruin. Yezi dismisses that fear, teasing whether Honest truly believes the newcomers arrived without powerful backing. That question triggers Honest's memory of collecting the trio from settlement number 119. He recalls a magnificent Guan family convoy departing there, fit for one of its direct descendants. Convinced these recruits carry great family protection, he assumes even Captain Zhang cannot harm them. Relieved by his clever guess, Honest imagines accepting blame could finally earn him advancement. Meanwhile, Yezi secretly tells Xiaoman their friend will marry into Guan influence, though that remains speculation. Still dodging, the silver-haired fighter challenges Jia to reconsider, demanding that he stop hiding. Consumed by rage, the transformed deputy roars for his elusive opponent to fight head-on. Accepting the invitation, he activates his own bronze headshot strike and launches a direct counterattack. Jia recognizes the matching attribute, grows even more enraged, and commits completely to killing him. Their empowered attacks collide, unleashing a golden explosion that tears apart the already shattered clearing. The exchange becomes a merciless barrage, with repeated impacts battering the giant lizard's armored body. One final crushing hit launches Jia across the ruins as stunned subordinates cry out. His transformation collapses, leaving the deputy leader human again, bloodied and unresponsive among rubble. Jia's officers rush to inspect him while another orders Captain Jiang notified of the newcomer's defiance. With Jia defeated, the abused workers seize their best opportunity and flee before reinforcements arrive. The pink-haired woman offers a grateful farewell, and her stone bracelet catches the victor's attention. Those polished beads awaken a memory of the similar bracelet his sister once gave him. He reflects that his missing sister would now be around the fleeing woman's age. Nearby, the battered Ji regains consciousness, coughing painfully while his worried officers seek instructions. Still consumed by humiliation, he ignores his condition and orders them to kill the brat. His subordinates recoil, pointing out their superior already lost and they cannot possibly win. Facing the calm newcomer confirms their fear that approaching him would mean immediate destruction. Furious even while barely standing, Jia denounces their cowardice and commands everyone to hold position. Instead, they carry him backward while warning that company will punish anyone who finishes him. Chengzi answers that absurd retreat with silence, simply turning toward the dungeon's actual mining operation. A long procession still enters the glowing portal, confirming Blue River as the crystal source. Unfamiliar with this valuable resource, he begins questioning what blue crystals actually are. Loaded workers steadily haul covered sacks from the portal toward a guarded storage building. Seeking evidence directly, he asks one laborer to open a sack and reveal its contents. The exposed crystals radiate unusual cold, leaving him curious whether they could forge weapons. The worker frantically covers them, explaining sunlight melts the cargo needed to feed his family. That fragility rules out ordinary weapons, making their enormous strategic value even more mysterious. Overhearing his questions, Jia secretly decides curiosity can lure this dangerous newcomer toward death. Pretending cooperation, the deputy suggests entering Blue River because people inside currently use the crystals. Jia doubles down, insisting only entering personally will reveal how the upper classes use blue crystals. The challenge works, and Chengzi agrees to inspect the dungeon despite recognizing the obvious danger. His answer delights Jia, who privately vows the icy realm will finish this troublesome standout. Before entering, however, the newcomer seizes his injured enemy and demands that Jia accompany him. Ignoring desperate pleas, he drags the schemer through the portal as insurance against any trap. Yezi and Xiaoman immediately follow, leaving the remaining officers stunned beside the entrance. Those officers remember a powerful young master is already inside, while one messenger seeks Captain Jiang. Honest quietly asks whether they actually learned the newcomers' identities before provoking them. They dismiss the trio as ordinary border recruits and demand that he stop acting mysterious. Luo boldly claims they represent the Guan family, instantly terrifying every officer who hears. Whether true or not, he calmly predicts everyone will discover the answer soon enough. Because honest rarely lies, the frightened men imagine Guan protection could neutralize even Settlement 725's rulers. Unaware rumors are spreading outside, the group enters a vast frozen realm crowded with laborers. Enormous ice mountains are riddled with mining holes, while awakened bodies alone withstand the deadly cold. Xiaoman reveals every transporter is awakened, although their levels remain extremely low here. Chengzi marvels that valuable awakening stones produced an entire workforce reduced to manual labor. While everyone studies the mine, Jia quietly slips away, seeking protection from the young master. He sprints across the ice and loudly begs the young master to save him from danger. Xiaoman notices the escape, but her leader allows it because they came searching for people. Confused by that explanation, she asks exactly whom the group intends to find. He explains they seek the upper-class consumers, determined to learn why workers suffer so badly. Yezi understands immediately. Both friends came from the exploited class, and Chengzi sees his past. Jia's repeated cries lead them toward a nearby tent where the mysterious young master waits. The silver-haired investigator throws open the entrance and fixes his defeated guide with a hard stare. Inside, a blonde noble lounges beside two attendants beneath the gaze of an enormous wolf. Jia crawls before him, claiming the newcomer is leading rebellion against Blue River's authority. The arrogant host dismisses border recruits as ignorant nobodies whose deaths require only a brief scolding. Behind the visitor, Jia's eyes flare with satisfaction as he anticipates fatal punishment. The blonde host offers what he considers generous mercy before hearing the newcomer's actual question. He demands 10 kowtows, promising forgiveness and even promotion to vice captain in return. Jia panics at that reward, realizing this rival would beat him daily as vice captain. The newcomer refuses absolutely, declaring he kneels for nobody unlike the noble's obedient lapdogs. Jia erupts over the insult, while other officers privately appreciate someone humiliating their arrogant superiors. Ignoring them all, he asks only why Blue River forces endless mining of blue ice crystals. The blonde finally identifies himself as young Master Meng and agrees to answer from sheer amusement. A pink-haired attendant obediently prepares his drink while the lounging heir watches without concern. She carves blue crystal into the red liquor, revealing its precious purpose as aristocratic refrigeration. Disgusted, Chengzi realizes exhausted miners are worked non-stop merely to chill wealthy people's alcohol. Meng claims his family generously sends unawakened poor people into free word attribute challenge trials. His mother runs Blue River, ensuring the Meng family never exhausts its supply of crystals. Meng dismisses awakened laborers as naturally suited for hard work, treating exploitation like harmless practicality. Chengzi condemns that excuse and its brutal cost, while Yezi gets embarrassingly distracted nearby. Jia desperately urges his patron to respond, fearing this fearless newcomer will retaliate after leaving. Meng finally orders his men to break all three newcomers' legs and prevent their escape. 4 battle-hardened vice captains eagerly accept, surrounding the trio with murderous confidence inside the tent. Their transformations activate together, unleashing 4 monstrous forms as Yezi and Xiaoman prepare defenses. The silver-haired fighter orders both companions back, calmly claiming every vice captain for himself. Trusting him completely, Yezi pulls Xiaoman away before the 4 transformed enemies can strike. He activates backlight, releasing his bodily and true ki limits beneath a blazing blue aura. Now fully powered, he thanks Meng for the confession and promises to win without guilt. Xiaoman worries about 4 opponents, but Yezi boasts his brother could crush another just as easily. Before anyone finishes doubting him, a colossal blue impact tears through the frozen battlefield. One vice-captain crashes face-first into the ice, earning Yezi's delighted approval from safety. The same explosive counter sends every transformed attacker tumbling helplessly through shattered walls and debris. Ming faces the untouched challenger next, praising such rare strength before accepting the open challenge. Still lounging smugly, the heir questions whether this furious newcomer actually dares touch him. He reveals his mother is Settlement 725 Bureau's regional administrator, a formidable level 30 powerhouse. Certain her position guarantees retaliation, Ming warns that harming him means never seeing tomorrow's sun. As his terrified attendant pours more wine, a careless splash stains the outside of his glass. Meng instantly executes her with an energy shot, raging that she cannot even pour alcohol properly. The battered patron still offers one final chance, demanding submission while grudgingly acknowledging his opponent's strength. He receives a wordless answer when his challenger's lightning-wrapped fist fills his widening blue eye. Refusing to kneel as promised, the powered fighter drives that fist directly into Meng's face. Nearby miners notice the commotion but avoid involvement, assuming another routine case of aristocratic bullying. The resulting eruption splits the icy terrain, leaving Yezi astonished by his friend's overwhelming force. When the debris settles, Meng lies bloodied and terrified while his remaining captives stare in shock. 2 women beg for mercy, revealing Meng kidnapped them and dragged them into Blue River. Recognizing fellow victims, he spares them and promises to return after handling the consequences. Rejoining his companions, he admits this attack finally created trouble even he cannot easily escape. He teases Xiaoman that her supposed husband is doomed, then threatens to blame both companions. Yezi rejects the insult, while Xiaoman silently resolves to fight beside brother Chung even if she dies. Dropping the joke, their leader says survival now requires following one dangerous path forward. They must defeat Ruguang's faction, destroy this dungeon, and conquer the Falling Star Corridor. Yezi erupts with excitement, thrilled that Chengzi finally proposes a bold operation worthy of them. Xiaoman warns every manager and captain ahead is level 30, making their escape nearly impossible. He counters that relentless dungeon grinding will eventually make them strong enough to defeat every manager. The declaration restores Yezi's fiery confidence, though Xiaoman still doubts they can actually succeed. Nobody knows the outcome, but he insists fighting forward beats running away with their tails tucked. Thinking of his sister, he realizes they need company. Standing before her trail disappears beyond reach. A furious shout follows as the determined trio races deeper through a towering frozen passage. Behind them, Meng and his battered vice-captains struggle upright amid the still-floating wreckage. One furious survivor vows to bury every newcomer beneath the shattered ice before they escape. Meng produces a custom signal orb, ordering a subordinate to summon his mother with a fake household emergency. Xiaoman recognizes the rare device as it flies toward the ground, threatening to expose them immediately. Before the orb can shatter, Chengzi rockets back through blue lightning as Meng promises prolonged revenge. Desperate officers charge the fallen signal, convinced their enemy lacks the nerve to kill them. They miscalculate completely as his blue-edged counter tears through the first attacker without hesitation. The remaining vice-captains recoil in horror, realizing their powerful patron may no longer protect anyone. Bloodied Meng stammers about his mother again, unable to comprehend anyone defying his family's authority. A final blue strike silences the threat and sends the arrogant young master crashing away. Yezi and Xiaoman arrive with weapons ready, equally finished with hearing endless boasts about his mother. 2 surviving officers lunge for the signal orb, believing activation offers their only chance of survival. Xiaoman floods their senses with unbearable stench, making both men recoil before reaching it. Already moving, their leader sweeps past both distracted officers and declares their reaction hopelessly late. One terrified survivor abandons the fight, deciding only an immediate report to the Lord might save him. He sprints across the frozen wasteland, desperate to outrun the lightning-charged executioner behind him. Mistaking silence for safety, the fugitive turns and boasts that nobody can lay hands on him. A crimson blur flashes across his vision, instantly proving the exhausted man's confidence disastrously misplaced. Chengzi dismisses the finishing blow as a casual side swing, sending the last runner tumbling. With every pursuer down, Yezi orders the bodies hidden inside tents to delay discovery outside. Yezi confirms crystal hauling continues normally, explaining the supposed truce merely draws out whoever caused trouble. Xiaoman starts asking about their next move once the temporary concealment buys them breathing room. Before answering, Chengzi assigns Yezi to stall Luo Pingxi and keep their disappearance unnoticed. The confident negotiator accepts instantly, assuring both companions that delaying Lord Luo will be easy. He stays behind to manage the official, while the other 2 move ahead into the dungeon. Somehow he calms Luo Pingxi and secures his help maintaining order, officially launching their expedition. Deeper inside, multiple roaring ice monsters surround the reunited trio and attack from every direction. At level 7 and 99% experience, Xiaoman launches herself into one beast with a flying kick. Yezi remains level 8 with 12% experience while hammering another crystal-backed monster at close range. Still level 10 with 9% experience, Chengzi carves through a third beast using a blazing arc. Each companion gains 90 experience, while Swift Lord activates and adds another 15% bonus. They continue grinding through the entire pack, combining arrows, scent tricks, and rapid melee attacks. 5 hours later, Captain Zhang's jerky fuels level 13 Changzi, level 11 Yezi, and level 10 Xiao Man. Despite their low starting tiers, experience requirements keep climbing, making far ahead crucial to his rapid progress. Their greatest obstacle is no longer combat difficulty, but finding enough monsters to sustain leveling. During the break, Xiaoman finally raises a question she has been holding since their meeting. She reveals that her unusual senses can smell word attributes, while his aura feels exceptionally thick. Realizing she has detected something abnormal, he quietly weighs whether explaining his secret is safe. Yezi casually deflects suspicion, arguing they originally approached Chengzi because his talent was unusual. Relieved by that explanation, Xiaoman agrees immediately and lets the dangerous question disappear. Behind his guarded expression, Chengzi realizes Yezi's immediate cover is what genuine trust feels like. Returning to strategy, the trio admits monster scarcity has become their greatest obstacle to further growth. Ordinary ice bears cannot supply enough experience when their leader needs at least level 30. Xiaoman detects an overwhelming beast scent nearby, though her safer plan starts by clearing outskirts. Yezi rejects caution immediately, demanding she guide them straight toward the richest leveling ground. Following her nose, they reach a ledge above the strongest source whose stench defies description. The scale below shocks both men before either can properly process what they have discovered. Thousands of monsters crowd the frozen ravine, transforming their experience shortage into a dangerous jackpot. Yezi wonders how so many appeared, joking that dimensional beasts must somehow breed independently. Questions can wait until later, because the trio launches its high-risk leveling operation immediately. A carefully thrown stone taps one horned beast, drawing the first confused stare from below. Yezi answers that stare with shameless mockery, deliberately provoking the monster into chasing him. The entire crystal-backed horde takes the bait, surging after him through the narrow frozen passage. At the chosen point, Xiao Man activates scent control and spreads purple energy across their advance. Her binding scent catches bears, wolves, and horned giants together, disrupting the whole charging mass. With every target gathered and restrained, she gives the signal for their finishing attack. A massive blue eruption tears through the trapped pack, scattering survivors toward every possible escape. He blocks their retreat with another attribute-powered strike, reaching level 15 and 12% experience. Now level 12 with 10% experience, Yezi celebrates their flawless pulling, controlling, and finishing system. The results prove him right as Xiaoman reaches level 11 with 3% experience. Refusing to relax, Chengzi drives the grind onward, believing level 20 will finally provide real confidence. He acknowledges the latest level granted an exceptionally strong new entry, though its exact power remains unrevealed. His companions race back toward the horde, confident thousands of remaining monsters will supply enough experience. Under the rising moon, he realizes monsters are plentiful, but time depends entirely on Luo Pingxi's delay. Outside the portal, Luo Pingxi anxiously wonders whether the bold promise he heard could possibly be true. Yezi had promised their trio would end lower-class oppression within 2 days if Luo blocked every entrant. Now doubting himself, the gatekeeper cannot imagine anyone overturning the settlement's entire order so quickly. His fear centers on 2 dominant local powerhouses whose combined authority appears completely impossible to overthrow. Sima Yan arrives with attendants, mocking Luo for standing alone without his usual flattering subordinates. Caught off guard, Luo admits those men are inside the dungeon but struggles to explain further. The impatient young master threatens to enter personally unless Luo immediately stops stammering and answers clearly. Choosing honesty, Luo says the trio entered without explaining their actions, only asking him to guard. He repeats their promise to create an earth-shattering event if nobody crosses the portal behind them. That grand phrase catches Sima Yan's attention, turning casual mockery into genuine curiosity about their plan. An attendant mentions young Master Meng is already inside, probably indulging another cruel and senseless scheme. He warns Meng would never spare the 3 newcomers, making their guarded entrance look suspiciously rebellious. The wary swordsman urges his master not to interfere with a possible revolt against superiors. Instead, that warning excites Sima Yan, who abruptly decides this mystery deserves his personal involvement. He joins Luo guarding the portal, declaring no earth-shaking event can happen without Sima Yan present. Seeing his best chance for fame, he hopes the trio finally settles his long resentment toward Meng. Night gives way to dawn over Settlement 725, while an imposing estate remains brightly occupied. Inside, Administrator Jin Hui, the notorious Flesh Mountain Queen, learns her son stayed away overnight. Her household confirms Meng never sleeps elsewhere, making his unexplained absence immediately suspicious. A lounging official suggests the young master simply enjoyed himself too much and avoided returning home. Jin Hui angrily silences that suggestion, hurling food across the lavish room at its speaker. She insists Meng would return because several kidnapped women already waited locked inside their home. Convinced someone interfered, the administrator storms out to discover who dared touch her precious son. One terrified male companion tries to calm his departing lover, insisting his mistake was accidental. Her enraged punch launches him through the residence, proving this furious mother needs no soothing. She vows anyone who harmed even one hair on Meng will personally learn the meaning of hell. By sunrise, the entire fortified estate erupts into hurried preparation for the administrator's departure. Servants, fighters, mounts, and supplies flood the halls while frightened staff scramble from her path. Jinhui's armed convoy charges through the streets, threatening anyone who delays official business. At Blue River's level 15 maximum entry portal, Luo realizes the administrator probably learned everything overnight. Remembering his promised 2-day delay, he wonders whether any hope survives the approaching confrontation. Sima's attendant detects movement first, warning that at least 30 awakened fighters are approaching. The reckless young master wants to wait and fight everyone, boasting he can handle any number. His practical swordsman grabs him and retreats, insisting this incoming force is far beyond playful trouble. Luo watches the administrator's mounted column arrive shockingly fast and surround the dungeon entrance. A horned senior officer rides forward and demands to know whether young Master Meng remains inside. Luo truthfully says he only guards the entrance and knows nothing inside, desperately trying to delay them. The horned commander lashes his face, calling him useless for refusing to investigate the dungeon personally. Bleeding and shaken, Luo insists abandoning his assigned post would violate the responsibility he accepted. The commander orders several sub-level 15 fighters through the portal to search for Meng immediately. Luo blocks their path and invokes Sima Yan's command that absolutely nobody may enter. The senior officers challenges that claim, asking whether this trembling guard intends to oppose them. Losing patience, Jinhui issues a cold, direct order for her people to kill Luo. Her commander hesitates, warning that murdering a registered company member would trigger an official investigation. Furious at resistance, she activates Gold Air Punch, compressing surrounding air for full-strength range damage. The blast forces her commander forward while she threatens to kill him unless he obeys. Cornered by his administrator, the horned officer orders every fighter present to eliminate the lone guard. A ring of armed awakened fighters closes around Luo, blades drawn against one battered defender. Though terrified and badly hurt, he unsheathes his sword because retreat would betray everything promised. Yezi's 2-day promise echoes in his mind, offering one fragile vision of hope worth defending. That hope matters more than survival, and Luo decides he would rather witness it than surrender. He charges openly, declaring his death will inspire more oppressed settlers to rise against their rulers. The attackers mock his low status and rush together, fully intending to erase that defiance. Hidden nearby, Sima refuses lifelong cowardice and tells his attendant to kill him rather than hide. The loyal swordsman finally understands his master's resolve and turns back toward the desperate battle. As Luo takes another slash, Sima orders his most faithful warrior forward, praising fearless resistance. Obeying Sima, his swordsman activates Bronze Lightning Enchantment, adding electric damage and a 5% paralysis chance. One sweeping lightning slash blasts through the surrounding attackers, instantly breaking their numerical advantage. Numbed fighters lose control of their limbs as the swordsman declares victory can turn instantly. Sima joins him using Gold Shar Peihound transformation, gaining 15% strength, speed, and defense. They shield wounded Luo beside the portal, vowing nobody enters while any defender remains alive. The Horned Commander recognizes Settlement 723's young master and asks Jinhui for permission to act. Without hesitation, the administrator orders him to eliminate every defender standing before the dungeon. He accepts, promising to demonstrate the enormous power gap even between different gold attributes. His Gold Black Needle Giant Wolf transformation grants 25% strength and defense, plus 10% speed.